Television Channel 5 presents the Carpenter Cup 1995 from Veterans Stadium. Today, the finals between Delaware North and Olympic Colonial. Hi everybody, I'm Bob Shryock along with Marc Narducci from Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia, and a chance for us to see a couple of great teams play in the 10th annual Carpenter Cup final. Channel 5 has already been there for some of the early games, and Mark, you saw a tremendous game yesterday in the semifinals, which allowed our team, Olympic Colonial, to make the finals today.
Bob, it was just a tremendous comeback. I mean, the Olympic Colonial's down 9-7 going in the bottom of the ninth inning. Kevin Hoffman, with the bases loaded, hits a two-run single to have a 10-9 win. It was one of the most dramatic baseball games that I've ever seen.
Of course, there's been a lot of great history to this tournament, Mark, but in fact, Olympic Colonial has dominated this tournament.
There's no question about it. They have 20 wins, the most ever. 20-6 is the 10th year of the tournament. They're the only team to have 3 titles, obviously going for a 4th. Not going to be easy against a Delaware North team, Bob, that has not been tested to this date. Coming off a very impressive 16-7 victory over a good Philadelphia Catholic League team. This is a Delaware North team that has scored 40 runs in the first 3 games. So obviously the key is getting the starters who will play the first 5 innings, really keeping them in order. Now, the Olympic Colonial will once again start with Brett Shryer. He's been the starting pitcher all 4 games. He'll probably go 2 innings. The key will be, after Shryer, the middle inning relievers until they get to Dan Severino of Audubon, who they expect to close, probably pitch the last 2 innings.
You've seen all these tournaments, Mark. You said this is one of the better ones you've seen.
I think so, Bob. When you talk about the dramatic way last night ended, and you talk about a lot of the close games, I mean, Ocean Monmouth, just a gritty performer, barely beat Tri-Cape 7-5, barely beat Burlington County 6-5, and of course last night's game, just game after game, there have been a lot of tremendous competitive battles.
Okay, for the championship of the 1995 Carpenter Cup, Olympic Colonial against Delaware North right after this. Marc Narducci and Bob Shryock from Veterans Stadium. Finals of the 1995 Carpenter Cup were underway. Bet Shryer, the starting pitcher for Olympic Colonial, on the hill facing Joe Saggione.
And of course, Saggione has been a real thorn in the side to teams in the Carpenter Cup, Bob. He's 3 for 7, but he has scored 5 runs, so he's really done the job. He's taken 4 walks, so he's a very selective hitter up there. The Olympic Colonial have to be very, very careful with him because he's been a real table setter.
Good fastball from Shryer. 2-1 to the leadoff hitter Saggione, starting the ball game. They play 9 innings in the Carpenter Cup 10th annual final. And Channel 5 delighted to be here on a hot, muggy day at Veterans Stadium. Hit the left field and just fouled by about a foot. So Saggione will come back. 2-2 count to the leadoff hitter in the ball game. The ball fielded by Ryan Preziosi down in foul territory. Ryan, one of the fine Olympic Conference players, playing out of Haddon Township High School.
There's a good look at Brett Shryer, and he has had as dominating a Carpenter Cup as anybody in 3 games over 7 innings, Bob. He's allowed just 1 hit, walked 3, has struck out 9, and of course he has 1 win.
Pop up into center field, and coming into the ball to make the easy catch, Tom Ambrose for out number 1. Ambrose making the catch.
That's interesting because Ambrose and Saggione are kind of like counterparts in this. Ambrose is the leadoff batter and the table setter for the Olympic Colonial.
Jamie French, number 2 hole hitter for Delaware North, playing out of Salesianum High School. Another left-handed hitter facing Shryer. Bunted nicely down the third baseline. It's going to be a tough play. Great off-balance throw, but a little bit late. Nice play by Chris Pryor down at third base, but bunted nicely for a base hit by Jamie French. First hit of the ball game, first base runner.
Yeah, and French is another guy that's really been doing the job. He has scored 3 runs in the first 3 Carpenter Cup game. Creer made a nice throw, shows the kind of arm he had, but he's playing a little too far back to get the speedy French.
Paul O'Connor from St. Elizabeth's High School, number 3 hole hitter. So Shryer will pitch from the stretch for the first time. First runner of the ball game, Jamie French, after a fine base hit on a bunt.
Shryer, of course, 9-0 this season for Paul VI as they won the Olympic Conference National Division and South Jersey Parochial A titles.
Hit to the right side, tough play. Fielded nicely by the second baseman. Off-balance throw, and he got him. Outstanding play by Joe Cruz, the second baseman, making a full pivot and gunning down O'Connor at first base to Mike Ty. That was a tremendous play, Mark, by the second baseman, Joe Cruz.
Well, we've talked about Cruz's offense all during the series as he's been crushing the ball, but he's an outstanding defender, has great range, and he showed it there. There was actually some thought maybe of even putting him at shortstop this year at Overbrook, but Tony Sindoni decided, let's leave him at second base. He's so strong defensively.
Scott Steffen, the batter, hits it to right field. Should be an easy play for the right fielder. Rich Cheney makes it for the third out. So a quick first inning. French with a base hit on a bunt, but he is left stranded at second base. Middle of the first inning. It is Delaware North nothing and Olympic Colonial coming to bat.
That's a significant first inning, Bob, because in the 3 previous games, Delaware North has scored at least 1 run in the first inning. They had 1 in one of the games, and then in the other 2, they had 6 and 4. So they've really gotten off to a good start. The fact that Shryer is able to hold them at bay is a really big thing for the Olympic Colonial.
Well, we have a hot, sticky day, Mark, but the weather's held up very nicely for this tournament this year.
They had a rain delay yesterday, and there was some thought of maybe even not playing, but then the sun came out and they were able to get 2 games in. In the 10-year history of this tournament, it's amazing. They've only had 3 rain delays. So they've really lucked out with the weather and an excellent day today.
Olympic Colonial Conference will send Ambrose, Cruz, and Chill up the first 3 batters here in the home half of the first inning. They'll be facing the left-handed slants of the Delaware North starter. And
that's Ryan Victor. A good look at him on the mound. And Victor has made 2 appearances in this Carpenter Cup, Bob, over 6 innings. He's allowed 6 hits, 2 runs, both earned, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts, and he's 2-0. Again, we said he had a sneaky fastball because he's not going to blaze it by people. He has to rely on good off-speed stuff and also, of course, on hitting the corners.
Yeah, the sun out in all its glory. The Phillies, of course, out of town playing this afternoon in St. Louis. They have been the surprise of Major League Baseball this year, be coming home this week to face a couple of tough teams, Cincinnati and Atlanta. But right now we're occupying the press box, Mark.
It's interesting, too, because both of these teams have had the same strategy. Some teams, Bob, we've seen come in the Carpenter Cup and actually have used their frontline players in the later innings. Both the Olympic Colonial and Delaware North have decided, hey, we want to get out to good starts, and they've been using a lot of their frontline players early on, and both of them will probably play 5 full innings with the starters and then come in with the reserves.
Tom Ambrose will lead it off for Olympic Colonial, facing Victor. Left-hander against a left-hander.
By the way, I just think Ambrose is one of the best baseball players in South Jersey. In the Carpenter Cup, he's had a great tournament, Bob. He's 4 for 10 with 5 runs scored, 2 stolen bases, and as we mentioned with Mike Linder yesterday, he's never been caught stealing in his high school career.
Wow.
61 for 61. 2 for 2 here in the Carpenter Cup. And the thing about him is he has some power. He hit 5 home runs this season for Triton and batted .528, and there was a home run swing right there.
Strike 1 to the leadoff hitter for Olympic Colonial, Tom Ambrose. Slow breaking ball missing, 1-1 from Ryan Victor.
See, we'll see a lot of that from Victor, and the Olympic Colonial hitters have to be patient on that.
In the dirt, 2-1.
Actually, Victor uses his fastball to set up his off-speed pitches sometimes. I think if you're just patient, though, and wait for the pitch to come in instead of getting too anxious against them, you can have some success.
Missing, 3-1. So Ambrose will look at this one carefully. He'll try to draw the leadoff walk, if possible. And it's a strike. Full count to Ambrose.
And we mentioned Delaware is the only team, Delaware North and South, in the Carpenter Cup that is only allowed to use seniors because of a rule by the State Athletic Association. All of the other teams are able to incorporate underclassmen.
Hit up the middle. Tough play for the second baseman. Will he get him? Off balance throw. No. The speed of Ambrose pays off in an infield base hit despite a good job by Jamie French, the second baseman for Delaware North.
All through this tournament, Ambrose has hit a number of balls that infielders have been able to get, but he just has such outstanding speed. He's legged out. That's about the third infield hit he has in this tournament, Bob, and the fifth hit overall, and that ties him for the team lead with Vaughn Schill and Joe Cruz.
And Joe Cruz is at bat. What a series he's had.
Joe Cruz is batting .554. He's 5 for 11, 4 runs scored, 6 RBIs, plus he's walked. And Ambrose, I know yesterday, drew about 4 or 5 consecutive throws. Delaware is going to be very, very cognizant of his speed.
Good lead by Ambrose, has 1 foot on the cut, and they have him picked off, but he's going to make it as the first baseman, Bobby Fadd, drops the ball, and that'll be a stolen base for Ambrose. He was picked off clean. They're going to give him a stolen base on that, Mark?
I don't know if they're going to give an E3 on that. We haven't heard the official scores. We said in the semifinal games, the official scores have been very consistent, but they've also been very tough. They've not been lenient at all.
Late swing by Cruz, 0-1 to Joe Cruz. Great career at Overbrook Regional High School. Chance to put his team on top with Ambrose at second and nobody out.
Yeah, they just did call that an E3 that time, Bob. Cruz had 105 career hits at Overbrook. Really, I thought burst onto the scene as a sophomore, Bob, when he hit the 7 home runs. But after that, people started knowing about him. He did not see many, many more fastballs. Cruz ended up batting this season .467, 2 homers, 25 RBIs. Was the leadoff batter, dropped down to number 3, alternated between the two. And we'll be seeing him locally at Gloucester County College. And in fact, they're thinking about putting him as a third baseman in college, even though he's played second at Overbrook.
0-2 count to Cruz. Great swing fouls at the plate. Great program, of course, at GCC. Barry Davis has done an absolutely magnificent job with the Roadrunner program. And what a job he's done recruiting in our area, Mark.
Well, I'll tell you, it's gotten to the point where now Barry, who's at a school that doesn't give scholarships, is able to get kids who have had some scholarship offers, or at least some partials. That's how respected the program is.
0-2 pitch again to Cruz. Swung on and missed. Strike 3. A good fastball by Victor. Cruz strikes out. That's 1 down. Schill, the batter out of Audubon. Great team at Audubon High School this year. Vaughn only a junior.
And by the way, as hot as Cruz been, Schill is 5 for 6, hitting a robust .833 with 7 RBIs in this Carpenter Cup tournament, Bob. And he didn't even get the bat in the first game because he was used as a pitcher.
So they've only gotten him out once. A little bit high. 1-0 to Schill.
The thing about Schill is he's just such a gamer. He and his teammate Dan Severino and also Glenn Ambrosius from Collingswood, who's on this Olympic Colonial team, they had a game today for the Brooklawn American Legion team. They beat Runnymede, now had to come over and play in this tournament.
Well, they don't have to worry about getting loose anyway.
What's ironic is the guy on second base, Tom Ambrose, was a member of that Runnymede team. So about 2 hours ago, these guys were trying to beat each other. Now they're working as teammates.
2-0 count to Schill with Ambrose at second, 1 out. No score, bottom of the first.
Schill had such a dynamic year for Audubon, hitting .490, great pitching record. He was 9-2 for the Green Wave.
3-0 to Schill.
Well, again, I have to give Delaware a lot of credit because it appears as if they've scouted this Olympic Colonial team. And one thing you don't want to do with Vaughn Schill is give him a fastball right down the middle. And as we've seen with these 3 pitches, everything's been either inside or away from him.
Four-pitch walk to Schill, so Olympic Colonial with 2 base runners with 1 out. And a cleanup hitter, Nick Gruber bats. He is from Haddon Township High School.
He's an interesting player because Nick Gruber actually has decided to sign with the Boston Red Sox. He was drafted in the 35th round, but he asked the Red Sox, you know, the teams like to sign people right away, and he asked them if he could wait till after the Carpenter Cup. And originally he was supposed to sign today, he told me, but now since they won, it'll have to wait till tomorrow. And then he'll be going to Florida to the Gulf Coast League. He'll be playing for the Red Sox team there in the Rookie League.
So an RBI opportunity for Nick Gruber. 2 on, 1 out. And Ryan Victor in just a little bit of first inning difficulty. Strike inside corner, 0-1 to Gruber.
I think he was taking all the way. Tony Mitchell, the third base coach, relaying the signals. I think he was taking all the way because Victor had trouble with Schill on the 4-pitch walk.
Ambrose running, late swing by Gruber, fouls it off, but I believe Ambrose had that base stolen easily.
There's no question about it. He had a great jump, and the other thing is Victor threw an off-speed pitch on the outside corner. It took a while to get there. Ambrose may have been able to make it standing up. That's how good a jump he had.
Still 0-2 to Nick Gruber. Schill was not running from first. Popped up to right field, very shallow, easily caught by Will Benjanak from St. Mark's High School, so that's 2 outs and the runners have to hold.
It's interesting because the last few day games here in the Carpenter Cup, the outfielders have had trouble kind of picking up the ball right off the bat, and Mike and I were talking about it last night that they are having trouble picking it up because of the crowd and everything, but Vagenac had no problem that time, was right there on the play.
Ian Enders, the batter, also from Overbrook High School, but now 2 down. Pickoff at second.
And Enders has been splitting a lot of time. He's either been catching or serving as the DH. With Gruber's been catching every game, but they actually have 4 catchers on this team. Joe Canuso of Triton and also Kenny Thomas of Pennsauken. So Enders is a DH today.
Ball on the strike. Pickoff at first and fairly close play, although Schill dives back safely under the tag of Bobby Fadd.
Great job by Paul O'Connor on the snap throw of the first. I had noticed that Vaughn Schill was actually getting both feet on the AstroTurf on his lead. He was really taking a big lead. I guess O'Connor saw the same thing, wanted to get him back there.
1-0 count to Enders. Ambrose running again, but time was called before he took off. So Ambrose will go back to second base. A briskly played top of the first inning, but slower pace here on the home first. Couple of base runners for the home team, Olympic Colonial.
I was talking to manager Tom Lemon of the Delaware North squad. He's hoping to get 3 innings out of Victor. He'd be very happy if he could as they try to get Ambrose back there at second base. Then he'd like to go with Doug Fisher as his number 2. He has no set plan. He's going to see how the game goes, but he said he wouldn't mind getting 3 innings out of 3 pitchers. The other one is Chris Veal, who will probably be the 3rd pitcher from Mount Pleasant.
1-0 pitch. Foul off to the right. Could reach the stands. Hits up against the fence foul. That's 1-1 to Enders. Enders with an opportunity here to put his team in the lead. Both teams scoring a lot of runs in this tournament, particularly, as Mark indicated, Delaware North. Victor pitching very deliberately here with a couple of base runners. To right field. Could be playable, could be in the seats, and it'll fall just in the seats. 1-2 to Enders. Ball chased by the right fielder, Will Benjanak. Pretty good crowd on hand for this, of course, with the spacious Veteran Stadium and at 60,000 seats. Doesn't look like there are a lot of people here, but there's a pretty good crowd for this game on a hot, muggy, shore-like Sunday afternoon, Mark.
I think the most important thing is throughout the week, a lot of college coaches and scouts have been here, Bob, and I think that's really the basis of this tournament, set up to give these youngsters a lot of exposure, especially on the skills day where they got to bring the underclassmen here on Wednesday. A very, very good number of college coaches were here then.
2-2 count to Enders. Ambrose moving again, hit to the left side, tough play right at the bag, fair ball, and they're not going to make the play. And you have to wonder whether Ambrose running on the play and getting to the bag almost simultaneous with the ball might have had an impact, Mark, on the way Stephen fielded the ball.
I think it definitely did, because I think Stephen was looking at Ambrose out of the corner of his eye. It did distract him, and again, they're going to rule an error that time on Scott Stephen.
It's tough scoring. So the bases loaded with 2 out. Big opportunity for Chris Cryer. Cryer from Paul VI High School, a senior. A big chance here for Chris to put his team on top. Bases loaded, 2 down. A couple of errors in the inning. Good stop by Paul O'Connor, the catcher, 1-0 to Cryer. Pitcher's made a lot of pitches in this inning, Mark.
He's really been laboring, but again, through the first 8 yesterday, they left 14
Sharply
runners
into
on
left
base.
field for a base hit. Ambrose scores. Schill's coming around. He's going to try to score. And he slides in safely. 2-run single. Chris Cryer, 2-0 lead. Olympic Colonial. Good solid base hit by Cryer. And it's 2-0.
And just as I said, they didn't take advantage of opportunities. They get 2 in. And Chris Creer has been an outstanding RBI guy. As we said yesterday, 74 RBIs in 2 years as a starting third baseman for Paul VI. Another guy undecided about his college destination and has not hurt himself in this tournament. That's now his 4th hit in the tournament. He's 4 for 8.
Rich Cheney, the batter from Camden Catholic High School, takes ball 1. So a good first inning off a tough pitcher, Ryan Victor. But these runs unearned, Mark.
With the 2 errors, Victor has pitched better than that. I think you made a very good point, though. Victor has pitched a lot of pitches, and it's a very hot, muggy day out here.
Fouled back. Ball and a strike to Cheney. So Ambrose base running, you talked about that, Mark. Gets a steal, tries to steal third on a ball hit by Enders. It winds up an error in the third baseman, and we believe that the timing of the play may have caused the error.
The other thing is, even had Stephen gotten that ground ball cleanly, there was a short hopper. It would have been a very, very tough play. Would have had to throw across from his body. So it's still no guarantee he would have made the play.
Strike 2 to Cheney, 1-2. Throw back to second into center field. Enders heading to third base, and that'll be the 3rd error of the inning against Delaware North. And the catcher throwing to the bag, but nobody there, Mark.
O'Connor looking for that snap throw that time. Delaware becoming a little bit unglued here in this first inning. And one thing about Rich Cheney, the teams in this tournament have been pitching him on the outside corner, and he's been trying to pull everything, and that's tough to do with these pitchers. We'll see if Rich tries to go the other way.
So it's a 1st and 3rd 2-out situation with a 1-2 count on Cheney.
Choking up a little bit now, behind in the count.
Now they got another guy picked off. Cryer, did they get him? And they tag him on the head. Good thing, because the run would have scored. So finally, Delaware North out of the inning, but a disastrous first inning it is. They commit 3 errors after 1. It's Olympic Colonial 2, Delaware North nothing. We'll be back. Marc Narducci and Bob Shryock from Veterans Stadium. 2nd inning baseball. Delaware North up trailing 2-0. And Will Vanjak, the batter for Delaware North, cleanup hitter. from St. Mark's High School.
Well,
Fouls it back.
Bob, he's just had an outstanding Carpenter Cup, hitting .566. He's 6 for 9 with 5 runs scored and RBI, and he's thrown in a stolen base there. Just an outstanding player.
1-1 count. Slow breaking ball from Shryer. 2-1.
Of course, the manager of this Delaware North team is also from St. Mark's, Tom Lemon.
Check swing foul, 2-2.
We've been saying this before. Early in the tournament, Bob, in the first day the Olympic Colonial played on Tuesday, Brett Shryer was clocked at 85 miles per hour. He has not been throwing as hard since, and we were speculating maybe it's because he's had to come back every other day and throw a couple of innings. This is not the hardest we've seen Brett Shryer, but he's been around the strike zone.
Hit into right field for a base hit. Nice bit of hitting by Van Jack, and it's a base hit to right field, giving Delaware North a leadoff base runner here in the second inning.
And again, Joe Cruz showing his range at second base, almost got to that ball.
Eddie Sarton, a batter from Middletown High School. He took a full cut at that one, no contact. 0-1 to Sarton.
That was obviously the best fastball early on that we've seen from Brett Shryer, and this is power against power. Sarton, outstanding fastball hitter. He hit .577 with 4 homers and 34 RBIs for Middletown this year as he takes that pitch for a strike.
Good pitch in the outside corner, so Shryer has Sarton in the hole 0-2. A lot of excitement early in the 1995 Carpenter Cup final. Pitch out, snap throw, and good heads-up base running. Nothing doing. 1-2 to Sarton.
Nick Gruber behind the plate, not afraid to go to that snap throw at first base. That time a little bit high. Mike Ty was right there to get it, but Gruber has a very good arm. Likes to catch base runners napping.
2-2.
Shryer, by the way, a 75th round draft choice of the Florida Marlins, and they just basically did that as a follow type thing. He'll retain his rights. If he goes to junior college, they still have a shot to sign him.
Full count to Sarton. So Shryer in a bit of difficulty here in the second inning. Let's see if the Delaware North Brain Trust manager Tom Lemon starts the base runner. They don't. Swung on and missed, strike 3. Another good fastball from Shryer. And Sarton becomes the first strikeout victim of Shryer.
That is his 10th strikeout in the Carpenter Cup. I actually think he's throwing a little bit harder today than he was throwing yesterday. Maybe the hot weather, he was able to warm up a little bit better, but he's got a little bit better fastball today. I still thought he threw better on Tuesday.
Bobby Fad pops one behind second into right field for a base hit. And that's 2 hits in the inning for Delaware North. They have a threat with just 1 down.
Did you see also defensively, Joe Cruz did an outstanding decoy at second base. He went back as if he were going to catch it, held up Vajanok, who had to look at him that time. So Cruz doing a nice job even though he can't get to the ball.
Jeff Corrigan, the batter out of Salesianum High School. A lot of left-handed hitters in this game. This is high, ball 1.
And that's why I think it's going to be very important. Usually the Olympic Colonial's been going as with Adam Gulson of Woodbury as the number 2 guy, and Adam's a left-handed pitcher, so that's going to be a key how they handle him.
Inside corner for a strike, 1-1 to Corrigan.
Corrigan hit .347 for the Sallies, who won the state championship in Delaware, beating William Penn 8-0 in the championship game.
Could be 2 to second base. Perfect double play hop. And they turn it nicely. Great job. Cruz to fill the tie. And that'll do it in the second inning for Delaware North. Excellent double play turn by the Olympic Colonial team. Inning and a half down, 2-0 for the team from South Jersey.
And I'll tell you, Vaughn Schill did an outstanding job on that relay throw because he had Bobby Fad coming right in on him, and Schill hung in very, very tough and got a lot on that throw to first.
the Liberty Bell. Veterans Stadium, what a great day it is for a baseball game. There was a lot of uncertainty about the weather today, Mark. I think the Carpenter Cup people got very lucky today to have this kind of a day for its finale.
Yeah, as I told you yesterday, Bob, they had talked about maybe postponing yesterday's and having it today and then going Monday, but they didn't have to do that, and the sun's come out. You know, it's interesting. We talk about the better players for the Olympic Colonial in the starting lineup. They're using their better players. But think about this, though, Bob. In this tournament, they've had to win 2 of the games coming from behind. They had to win the 12-inning game over Del Val Central 9-6, so they had to use the, quote, second-line players in that game. And, of course, last night coming back for a 10-9 victory. Some West Deptford fans there, Bob?
The family of Mike Ty, I believe. Coach DiBiase there. Mike Ty, of course, in West Deptford. What a magnificent season he had. 2 Grand Slams in 1 week.
And, of course, leading South Jersey in home runs, showing a lot of power. And I think over here in the Carpenter Cup, he's done a nice job in the fact that defensively he's done well, and he's gotten on base a lot.
Rich Cheney bats for Olympic Colonial leading off the second. He was at bat in the first inning when Creer was thrown out, was picked off. And it's 0-1 to Cheney. And 0-2 to Cheney. To Rich Cheney leading off the second inning. Check swing topper to second. This could be a tough play. And second baseman French can't make it. That'll be an infield base hit by Rich Cheney just on a check swing. French did all he could, but he could not catch the ball with the bare hand and make the throw in the same motion. That was the only play he had.
I think had he done it, though, he would have been able to get Cheney, who moves pretty well for a big man. But that's Rich's first hit here in the Carpenter Cup. That might get his confidence going. He's 1 for 7 now.
And now the aforementioned Mike Ty bats. Strong left-handed hitter from West Deptford High, and what a great all-around athlete. Terrific football player, and of course he has another year to go.
8 homers, 41 RBIs for West Deptford.
That's not a bad year.
By the way, what a year Tom Ryder's team had, going 19-8, having 1 big win over Audubon, which was the Group 1 state champion.
Had a chance to attack. Well, they almost had Cheney leaning. Victor with a real good pickoff move.
And to be honest, that isn't even Victor's best move we've seen. We've seen better moves from him. Cheney not getting an overly big lead.
It's a strike to Ty, 0-1.
Ty has shown a very good eye in this tournament. Just 1 for 4 at the plate, but he has 4 walks. And more importantly for this Olympic Colonial team, he has scored 4 runs and has really provided solid defense at first base.
Hit the inside corner nicely. Good slow breaking ball by Victor. 0-2 to Ty. Saw one of Ty's home runs on Channel 5 this year. Opposite field job in that gorgeous Union Field. Pitch out. Cheney not moving.
Cheney's not the guy you're going to do a lot of hitting and running with. Or I'd be surprised if Coach Joe Hartman sends him to steal. That's really not his forte.
1-2 to Michael Ty. Ty, a famous sports name in West Deptford Township. Swung on a miss. Ty, strikeout Victor. Second strikeout for Ryan Victor. And batter Ryan Preziosi. Township Jr.
He's really looked well in this Carpenter Cup, Bob. Today he's playing left field. He's played third base. He started. He's come off the bench. He's done everything they've asked him. And I'll tell you what, if it weren't for Preziosi's 3-run triple in Game 1 in the 12th inning,
they wouldn't be here.
Well, they may not be here because that broke a tie, and then he came around and scored on an errant throw.
This is hit well to left field. Left fielder Corrigan way back. He's not going to get it. Way over his head. Rounding third base is Cheney. He's going to score easily on a stand-up double by Ryan Preziosi, and he ripped that ball near the 371 mark in left center field.
That's interesting because that's around the area that he hit the triple in Game 1 in this tournament. And as you see him at second base, Preziosi is not a big kid, but he has very, very deceptive power. I mean, he's an outstanding base runner. He scored 34 runs this year for the Hawks. Great speed, stole 26 bases, but he has a lot more pop in his bat than people realize, and they have been playing him shallow all tournament.
Bad job by a number 9 hole hitter, Ryan Preziosi, RBI double, 3-0 Olympic Colonial. Top of the order, and Tom Ambrose.
And by the way, we talk about American Legion teams. Ryan Preziosi knocked in his teammate for the Haddon Heights American Legion team, Rich Cheney.
Ambrose did his thing in the first inning. Infield base hit, stolen base, scored a run. Fouled at the plate. Ball and a strike to Ambrose. So Ryan Victor has really labored in his 2 innings, and we wonder now, Mark, whether his manager is going to want to get 3 innings out of him after all these pitches.
The one thing is, Bob, had the team fielded, not committed the 3 first-inning errors, he would have been out of that unscathed.
Slow breaking ball fought off by Ambrose, fouled to left, 1-2.
The thing I like about Ambrose is even against left-handers, he doesn't bail out. He just hangs right in there. Ambrose and Cheney will be 2 South Jersey players who will be going to Monmouth College and continue to help that program.
3-0 for the 3-time champions of the Carpenter Cup, Olympic Colonial, and the best record in the history of this prestigious event. Hit to the right side, fielded cleanly by French. To Bobby Fad for the out, moving to third on the play, Preziosi. 2 outs. And Joe Cruz will bat. He was a strikeout victim his first time.
Joe is such a determined player. You could tell how angry at himself he was at that strikeout. He really looks determined and wants to make amends up here.
He's brushed back, 1-0 to Cruz.
He's actually playing in the men's league this summer for Fuel X of the Tri-County Men's League. After playing for Atco last summer and having a great summer on Coach Gary Bickle's team that won the American Legion state title in '94.
Hit the right field. It's a rope, but right to the right fielder, Anjak, for the 3rd out of the inning. But another run for Olympic Colonial after 2 full innings. They lead it 3-0.
Top of the 3rd inning with Delaware North batting. Dan Roof here is a designated hitter, and he'll lead things off for Delaware North. So it'll be Roof, Sagione, and Jamie French. Here in the top of the 3rd is Delaware North, Bob, trailing Olympic Colonial 3-0.
That's a little pushing for Brett Shryer.
Well, I think this is a key move by the Olympic Colonial staff because they had talked about before the game of only going 2 innings with Shryer. He's thrown a lot this week, but I guess they figure this is it. He went 2 innings the first 3 games and was taken out, but in the first game he had to come back and actually pitch 3 against Del Val Central because they used up all their pitchers. So Brett Shryer really gutting out that 3rd inning, and this would be a big plus if the Olympic Colonial's able to get it out of him.
Roof fouls it back. 2-2 count to Dan Roof, leading off the third inning for Delaware North. They've had 3 base hits, but nothing to show for it.
Shryock is still uncommitted. He told me that Florida Atlantic, which has been in on him for a while, and Monmouth are 2 contenders. Also, he's talked to Gloucester County. And he certainly hasn't hurt himself with colleges with this performance here.
A lot of players playing in this tournament, Mark, have gotten scholarship opportunities after their performances here.
Yep. Some schools have players that were drafted and signed, so they get scholarship money freed up that way.
Swung on in this strike through. That was a real good fastball out of the strike zone, but effective by Shryock. That's 1 down.
We talked about Dan Severino of Audubon has a kind of rising fastball that makes pitchers go out of the strike zone to hit it. Shryock that time, same thing.
Joe Saggione up for the second time. He flied to center field his first time up. Slow breaking ball hitting the outside corner, 0-1.
The thing about Shryock is this season he's been able to throw his curveball for strikes and throw it with velocity. Now that time he didn't, but he's had a lot of success with it.
Ball on the strike to Saggione, the leadoff hitter for Delaware North.
And we talked about being a 75th round draft choice of the Marlins. Actually, if he goes to a junior college, he can sign with the team that drafted him up to 72 hours before the next draft. And if you go to a 4-year school, obviously you relinquish your rights the day you step in and take your first class.
2-1 to Saggione. To the right side should be an easy play for Cruz. Comes up throwing to Ty for the easy out on Saggione. That's 2 down. And impeccable defense behind Shryock so far.
Oh, the other thing is, Saggione is such a dangerous player. Guy's been on base 7 times in the first 3 games for Delaware North. They've been able to keep him off base twice so far today. It's been a big key.
Jamie French with a base hit his first time up. 2 down in the Delaware North third inning.
And you notice French had the bunt last time, and Chris Greer at third base is coming in a little bit closer than he was before. Aware of that. French with a good speed from the left side there.
While Ryan Victor has labored for Delaware North on the mound, Shryock has had relatively an easy time with a minimum of pitches. 2-0 to French.
We talk about good speed and all. No one showed more speed in this tournament than Gary Gordon, the center fielder for Willingboro. Bob was clock going from the right side to first base in 3.85 seconds by 1 scout. Absolutely just motoring. Of course, Gary has a pleasant dilemma. He was a 10th round draft choice of the Colorado Rockies, is yet to sign. Says he'll probably go to Old Dominion.
3-1 count to Jamie French. Shryock in danger of relinquishing his first walk of the game.
Schreier's quite a story. He was not even the #1 pitcher on his own team last season, Bob.
Outside corner, nicely hit by Shryock. Full count to Jamie French.
In fact, I really think he was like the #3 pitcher, but he was only 4-2 as a junior. But he was a kid that just got good experience, had an excellent summer last year for Haddon Heights American Legion team where he went 6-1, and he's just kept getting better and better.
A walk, so French is on base for the second time, and Shryock gives up his first free pass.
Delaware has very good team speed, but it's only stolen 4 bases in this tournament. I think one of the reasons is this team has gotten out to so many early leads, they really haven't had to run a whole lot.
Paul O'Connor will bat. He grounded out his first time. French, a 2-out base runner for Delaware North, which trails by 3. Virtually no wind at all. It is hot and muggy. Outside corner as Shryock continues to hit the corners nicely. 0-1 to O'Connor.
And home plate umpire Ron Melchior has been consistent, giving the pitchers that outside. In fact, most of the umpires have been doing that this tournament. That outside strike.
Strike 2.
Great job by Gruber that time, framing that ball up. Delaware people didn't think it was a strike, but Gruber did an outstanding job framing. He's just a real heady catcher. Well, you can see why he was drafted. Outstanding defensively.
O'Connor didn't like the pitch. He's in the hole 0-2. Hit to the right side, and that'll be a base hit. Nice job by O'Connor. And stopping at second is French. So O'Connor just kind of reached out and delivered that ball to right field in a two-out threat for Delaware North. Good bit of hitting by O'Connor, who was down in the count 0-2.
Well, we talked about the hitters in this tournament that have tried to pull those outside pitches. That time O'Connor did a great piece of hitting by going with the pitch, going the opposite way.
Scott Steffen, the cleanup hitter, fly to right field his first time, and good chance here for North to get back in the ball game if their cleanup hitter can come through. Check swing to first base, easy play for a tie, so Shryock gets out of it and pitches 3 shutout innings. Middle of the third, still 3-0 for the team from South Jersey, Olympic and Colonial. Nice job by Shryock, Mark.
Tremendous job in this whole tournament, Bob, by Brett Shryock.
And the dugout. A lot of players in there, a lot of players who are seeing action, a lot who will be seeing action as the managers of these Carpenter Cup teams try to get everybody in the ball game, and usually do, except in some cases for a few members of the pitching staffs.
Bob, listen to this pitching line throughout the tournament for Brett Shryock. He pitched all 4 games, 10 innings, 5 hits, no runs, 1 walk, 11 strikeouts.
Yeah.
What an outstanding. That's about as good a Carpenter Cup as the South Jersey pitchers had since the great Sean Sr. in 1989 when he pitched 10 innings and had a 1.80 ERA and struck out 12 batters in that year.
I remember that year.
Yep. Of course, Sean is. There's someone in the Bob Uecker seats.
Is it Bob Uecker?
Sean, of course, is pitching for the Trenton Thunder, the Boston Red Sox AA affiliate. But just a great Carpenter Cup for Brett Shryock.
Brian Victor still in the game. Made a lot of pitches the first 2 innings, but his manager indicated he'd like to get 3 out of him, and that's what he's going to try to do. Olympic Colonial has scored in each inning, 2 in the first, 1 in the second. They lead at 3-0. And they picked on a tough pitcher in Ryan Victor.
Well, the gamble paid off by Joe Hartman and his staff trying to get the extra inning out of Shryock, and he just gutted it out and really gave it to them. He's been the real stopper, the reliable player all throughout this tournament.
Joe Hartman, one of the real unsung top guys in South Jersey sports, Mark. I know you have a lot of respect for Joe and what he's accomplished, and hasn't gotten a whole lot of publicity for what he's done over the years.
Done a great job. In fact, he did something else that I think is really beneficial to the young players. Joe and the South Jersey Baseball Coaches Association yesterday, Bob, had a camp where they invited pro scouts to look at the players who will be seniors next year, to give them an early look, to give them that kind of exposure. It was very well attended, and they had over 30 players there.
So Victor stays in for a 3rd inning. He'll have some tough hitters to face here in the 3rd. Middle of the order for Olympic Colonial, starting with Von Schill, who was in the middle of that 2-run uprising in the first by walking and coming around to score a run on a base hit. So a good start for the team from South Jersey as they try to post their 4th Carpenter Cup championship. Nobody's ever won more than 2, and they won 3. It's a strike to Schill. Another slow breaking ball for a strike as Victor gets ahead of Schill 0-2.
Still think Victor will make a mistake if he tries to change up and now tries to throw on by Schill. It's very, very tough to do that.
And he turns on it, hits it to left. Is it going to stay fair? Oh, great catch down in the corner by Jeff Corrigan. Tremendous play, not an easy play. You're not used to playing in a stadium like this, and He stayed with that ball all the way, makes a fine catch for the first out.
He really did, and I'll tell you, Victor got lucky because he tried to sneak a fastball.
Just like you said.
By Vaughn Schill. Schill did not get all of it. He was jammed a little bit, but still shows you how much power he has to get it out there to left field.
Just got around a little too quickly on that ball. Nick Gruber, the batter, flied to right field his first time up. Gruber 0 for 1. Hit the center field. Chasing Sagione back, but he makes the catch easily for out number 2. So a couple of good outfield plays by Corrigan and Sagione and a couple of outs. Ian Enders, the batter, reached in an error. That was a key play in the 2-run first inning.
Victor was 7-4 with a 1.81 ERA this year for Brandywine, and he'll be going to Lemoyne College. He's shown very well in this tournament.
Bounce to short, not an easy play, off-balance throw, and a good one for that. That's fine play by Bobby Sargent, the shortstop. Had to make an off-balance throw to Fad, and does for the third out. So some nice defense that inning by Delaware North. End of 3, still 3-0 Olympic Colonial. We'll be back. Marc Narducci, Bob Shryock from Veterans Stadium, finals of the 1995 Carpenter Cup. Good start for the Olympic Colonial team from our area. They lead Delaware North 3-0. They had a brand new pitcher in the game out of Woodbury High, Mark.
Yep, it's Adam Gawalson from Woodbury, who has pitched in each of the first 3 games in this tournament. Bob, he won one of the games. In fact, he was the winning pitcher in that opening 12-inning win over Del Central, but he has also struggled at times in 3 games, 6 2/3 innings. He's allowed 8 hits, 5 runs, all earned, 3 walks, and 5 strikeouts. And again, he's the type of guy that the Delaware North hitters have to be patient at because he has a very good command of his changeup.
Ball 1 to the number 5 hole hitter for Delaware North, Will Vangenak, who got a base hit to right field his first time from Middletown North. Down the right field line. That's a good stop by the first baseman, but will not recover to make the play. Mike Todd with a good diving stop of the ball. So Walson got over there in time, but it was beaten out for an infield base hit by Vangenak.
And Ty showing excellent range that time because that ball was right down the line, and you don't know if he would have been able to get extra bases on that.
So Ty saved what could have been a 2-base hit. Vangenak safe with his second hit. Bobby Sargent, the batter, he struck out first time. Pop foul back out of play, 0-1 to Sargent. Vangenak, the first player in the ball game to have 2 hits. Walson goes to first. Tall, lanky pitcher. Slow breaking ball, hit down the third baseline, just foul. Got to be a thrill for these young men, Mark, to have an opportunity to play at Veterans Stadium, something they'll always remember.
As we were saying before, I think it's the most prestigious all-star tournament around because the guys start talking about it before the baseball season starts. By the way, Bob, we have a sub in this game as the Olympic Colonial, as they did last night, will be using 3 outfielders. So Bishop Eustace's Blaine Neal now goes to right field. And Tim Phillips of Washington Township will play the last 3 innings. So Cheney out of the game.
Oh, 2 to Sargent. Outside, 1-2. That's 5 hits for Delaware North, but still no runs. Swung on and missed. Strike three. Slow breaking ball, and Sarton strikes out for the second time.
Well, that's Golson at his best, either throwing the slow breaking pitch or the changeup, throwing batters off stride. Again, he's not a guy that you're going to see throwing in the 80s, so he really has to rely on changing speeds, and he does it a lot.
Bobby Fed, the batter, with one out. Too high, 1-0 to Fad, who had a base hit to right field his first trip.
Fad now 4 for 8 in the Carpenter Cup with 2 RBIs.
Vangenak, the base runner at first with one out. He singled for the second time. Strike one to Fad, 1-1.
Fad, one of the many Delaware All-Stars that will be going on and continuing. He'll be playing at the University of Delaware.
Real good program down there at Newark, Delaware. Lawson, a little pop-up behind second. Tough play. Drops for a base hit. Just out of the reach of the second baseman, Joe Cruz. So Fad has his second base hit to go along with Vangenak's 2 hits and a 1-out, 2-1 situation now for Delaware North. They can get back in it.
Well, Blaine Neal was playing too deep, and he had to because he had to respect Fad's power. Again, Cruz covers so much ground, Bob. I thought when that was first hit, he had no shot of even getting near it. He got pretty close.
Mark, this is an identical situation as in the second inning with Corrigan batter. Vangenak and Fad were the base runners on first and second with one out, and Corrigan bounced into a double play. Let's see if history repeats. Bounce to the right side. This one's going to go through. Rounding third base is Vangenak. They might have a play at the plate, and he will be tagged out by 15 feet. A great throw by the new right fielder, Blaine Neal. How about that throw, Mark?
Bob, it was identical to the one he had in Game 1, which really saved the game for the Olympic Colonials. Neal gunned down a Del Val Central runner to preserve that victory and keep the score 2-2 at that time. Blaine Neal has really opened up some eyes in this tournament with that arm that he has from right field. And what's amazing is he never played the outfield this year. He was a first baseman all year for Coach Sam Tropiano.
Really an odd line score, Mark, through the first 4 innings. Delaware North has 7 hits and no runs. First and third, 2 outs. Dan Roof, the batter. Outstanding throw, and of course, good job by Gruber blocking the plate, making the easy tag on Vangenak, who was dead 15 feet up the line.
I think Blaine Neal over the last week, I also understand he had an excellent showing at the tryout camp. He was making throws at Washington Township yesterday with all the top prospects. He was making throws like that from right field.
One bouncer to second base. And wow, wild throw. Did they get him? Oh, good job by Ty. Somehow finds the bag, and there's an argument down at first base. But Roof is called out, and that'll do it for Delaware North in the 4th inning. Middle of the 4th, still 3-0. That was close.
Well, we said that Mike Ty has done a great job defensively, and I thought he got it. I thought he tiptoed that bag right before Roof got there and bailed out Cruz on that throw.
So a frustrated Delaware North so far as they have stroked 7 hits but have no runs. Good defense for the Olympic Colonial team. That's the key ingredient in this 3-0 lead.
Of course, we'll be having a new pitcher into the game, the right-hander Doug Fischler. Doug's from St. Mark's High School, and he had an impressive regular season this year, 6-0, 1.65 ERA. And he'll be going to the University of Indiana in Pennsylvania. There's a look at Doug. And again, manager Tom Lemon said, I hope to get 3 innings out of him. And I thought Victor pitched pretty well. I mean, his line score, 3 innings, 4 hits, 3 runs, but only 1 of them earned, 1 walk and 2 strikeouts. And again, as we said, had he not had the 3 errors, had the team not had the 3 errors in that first inning, he would have gotten out of that unscathed.
Fisher, a tall, lanky pitcher.
It's interesting, too, to see what the Olympic Colonial will do, because Adam Gawalson got hit around a little bit, even though they didn't score any runs on him. We'll see if they come back and bring him for another inning. What they've been basically doing is, as the third pitcher coming in, it's usually been Brian Bochus of Haddon Township, so we'll see if manager Joe Hartman follows that script. The thing about Joe Hartman in managing in this tournament, he basically likes to go the same lineups, the same way of using his pitchers. There have been some changes. He's moved Preziosi all over the place. He's changed his DHs and catchers, as we've said, but for the most part, he's basically used a consistent lineup. Everybody knows their roles. They know when they're going to come in and play.
Chris Creer will lead off for the Olympic Colonial team in the fourth inning. He had a base hit in the first inning. Three 3-0 lead for the Olympic Colonial roster.
Creer hit .544 this year for Paul VI. Paul 16 that had a great year, mainly a senior-laden team, although they had the impressive sophomore catcher, Guy Lynham.
Fisher goes to right field. And looked like the right fielder, Banjanak, might have had a little bit of difficulty with the sun, but stays with it nicely for the out.
He really did. Again, the outfielders have had trouble.
Done a new right fielder, Mark?
I believe so. Tough, you don't see those numbers.
Blaine Neal, the batter.
Now, I believe Banjanak is still out there.
Neal with the big defensive play of the game so far. And takes strike one from Fisher.
I also like the way manager Hartman has been working this. He's used Neal sometimes in the last innings, as he did last night. Tonight he's bringing him in the middle innings.
Fouled down the left field line, out of play. 0-2 to Blaine Neal, replacing Cheney, who was 1 for 1 and scored a run. Two count to Neal.
Neal, by the way, drew 2 big walks in last night's comeback win. Of course, John Rose of Ocean Monmouth walking 5 batters in his relief stint, could never really find the strike zone.
1-2 to Neal. Fastball high, 2-2. Home fourth inning. Olympic Colonial with a 3-0 cushion.
Neal with very good power, too.
Full count. So after getting ahead of Neal 0-2, it's now a full count Fisher to Neal.
Yeah, the other thing about Neal, he didn't pitch all year, and he went to that tryout camp yesterday, Bob, because he had some problems with his elbow. He was clocked on the jugs gun 88 miles per hour.
So Fisher, after being ahead 0-2 in the count, walks Blaine Neal. And Mike Ty will bat for the second time. Mike struck out against the southpaw pitching Ryan Victor his first time. Snap throw to first. Sun shining brightly at Veterans Stadium. Ty with good opposite field power. Tremendous gap in left center field. He'll hit some over there too, Mark.
And he moves pretty well for a big kid. He could run all day if he gets one in that around that 371 sign. Mike, of course, one of the premier place kickers in the state. He'll be back playing for Clyde Folson's football team.
Well, that all-around West Effort sports program really on the rise. Fouled right back by Ty, 1-1. Good to see. They've struggled in many sports over the years, Mark, but they seem to really have gotten their overall athletic program together at West Effort.
course, a lot of credit has to go to Joe Galera, who's come in there as the athletic director.
Joe's done a fine job. Still 1-1 to Mike Ty with Neal at first base, 1 out, home fourth. South Jersey team trying to get some more runs. Just missing inside, 2-1 to Ty. And 3-1. So Fisher, after easily retiring Creer to start off the inning, is experiencing some control problems. He walked Neal after being ahead 0-2. Now he's 3-1 on Ty.
And Ty has shown with the 4 walks in this tournament just what a selective hitter he is. Of course, on this team, you can even be more selective.
This could be a double play. Bouncer to French, and they'll turn it. Sarton over to Fad. Another 4-6-3 double play gets Delaware North out of the 4th inning. We played 4 from Veterans Stadium. Olympic Colonial 3, Delaware North nothing. We'll be back. Fifth inning baseball from Veterans Stadium. Bob Schrack along with Marc Narducci bringing you the finals of the 95 Carpenter Cup. Joe Sagione leading off for Delaware North against Woodbury High's Adam Gawasson. And it's ball 1. Real good defense from both teams in this game, despite the fact that Delaware North made 3 errors in the first inning, which led to 2 unearned runs. Ball and a strike to Sagione, who was 0 for 2. Gets away from Adam a little bit. It's 2-1 to Sagione. Game moving fairly rapidly. We're in the 5th inning. As I say that, we'll probably have an hour-long 5th inning now, Mark. Bounce to the right side. Good job by Ty, making sure that he short hops it to make the easy out on Sagione. So one of the keys so far for the Olympic Colonial team, Mark, has been keeping Sagione off base. He's 0 for 3.
I agree with you, and I think this is a very key point because this is the 5th inning, and normally the substitutes come in after this. The Carpenter Cup rules stipulate that the field position players have to play at least 3 innings, but usually the coaches do it 5 innings and 4 innings to make it close to equal. So this might be the last time the Olympic Colonial has to face this top of the Delaware order.
Want to note to Jamie French, who's had a perfect night. He has 1 for 1 base hit, great bunt base hit, and a walk. Also a very deliberate wind-up and delivery. It's 2-0. Trying to bunt his way on again. Let's see what Ty does with this one. He'll make the easy play in the tag on the sliding French. So good play by Ty. Not as easy a play as it might have looked. And Ty has taken care of both of the first 2 hitters here in the 5th inning.
Well, you can tell Ty's a football player because he wasn't afraid to take on that contact, but in retrospect, it probably would have been easier if he just went to tag the bag out of the way. Either way, he made the play.
So they get French for the first time. Paul O'Connor, the batter, he is 1 for 2 out of St. Elizabeth's High School. Lawson working on 2 shutout innings if he can retire O'Connor.
I'll tell you, if they can get 2 shutout innings out of Gawson, they have to be very, very happy. That's been the one area that's been vulnerable, the middle relief for this Carpenter Cup team. Been good at the top, good closing.
Tantalizing breaking ball for a strike in the outside corner.
I know Adam's going to Montclair State, and I know the coaches there are very excited about him. They were talking to him after he got the win in the first Carpenter Cup game here on Tuesday.
1-1 to O'Connor.
Also has to be a big advantage to these Olympic Colonial pitchers to pitch to a guy like Gruber, who does a great job framing the pitches, getting the balls in the dirt.
Bounce right back to Glosson, knocks it down, comes up and fires it to Ty for the out. So a great 1-2-3 fifth inning for Glosson as Ty makes all 3 putouts. And we come to the home half of the fifth inning. It's still a 3-0 lead for the Olympic Colonial Conference team, and they've had some real good defense, Mark, behind Shryock and Glosson.
It's been outstanding. Cruz has made some nice plays. As well, Schill on the double play throw. And it appears as if I'm just trying to look out here, Bob. Again, Delaware North is still having its regular players in the lineup, so no substitutions yet, it appears, on the position players.
What is the rule on substitution, Mark? Is it mandatory that they all play or not?
Oh, yeah, you have to. The position players have to play a minimum 3 innings. And as I said...
Can you make an exception? Can a kid play 9 innings?
If there's no substitution for him, let's say if somebody doesn't show up or something like that. That's happened on rare occasions, usually with catchers. Okay, so we do have one change. We have Chris Hill now playing third base and for Scott Steffen. And by the way, that's not an easier assignment because Chris Hill has had an outstanding Carpenter Cup so far for the Delaware North team. He's 4 for 7 with 3 RBIs, so they've really gotten a lot of production.
And he is going to lead off the next inning for Delaware North. So Doug Fisher in for his second inning. He had a successful 4th pitching for Delaware North, retiring the Olympic Colonial team 1-2-3 with a walk mixed in, double play ending the inning. Olympic Colonial team leading all the way, 3-0, but they'd like some insurance runs. Delaware North, as Mark indicated, the highest scoring team in the tournament, but they've been blanked today.
Not only the highest scoring, they weren't even tested. The closest game that they had was they won 2 games by 9 runs each.
Ryan Preziosi has had the biggest hit of the ballgame so far. The longest hit, it was a double bouncing up against the 371 sign on the left. And that would have been out of most of the parks in South Jersey, Mark.
Oh, absolutely. He's, as we talked about, his deceptive power, and they're still not playing him deep. I don't know if they recall that he's the one that,
you're right,
that hit that shot, but Corrigan in left field.
I mean, they're playing him shallow.
Yeah, exactly the same place they were playing him before. Ryan's a switch hitter, too, and you don't see that too much in the high school level. Has outstanding back control.
Ball is fair. It's a foul ball. So Preziosi will come back. It'll be an 0-2 count on the Haddon Township senior-to-be.
He had some talking over at first base to Ron Ross, who's, as there you see Corrigan in left field, not playing too deeply, but Ron Ross is coaching at first base from Collingswood, Tony Mitchell from Paul VI at third, and the Olympic Colonial will rotate those coaches. And Ross says, it's nice to have guys like Preziosi on my team. He tries to beat me when we play against him in the Colonial Conference. Nice to be able to have these guys and not worry about them beating us.
Preziosi felt Fisher was taking too much time, calls time. 0-2 count to Preziosi. Hit the right field. This one hit sharply. Could be trouble. And that's a fair ball down in the corner. That'll bounce into the area behind the 330 sign for a ground rule double. So Preziosi has doubles marked from both sides. That's not a bad job of hitting.
Oh, absolutely. Just a real versatile player and has had an outstanding Carpenter Cup here. You mentioned they bat him ninth, but he's almost like a second leadoff batter. The way he can get on base and the way he runs.
A tough number 9 hole hitter. He doubles sharply to left center, now down into the right field corner for a ground rule double. One right-handed, one left-handed. Tom Ambrose, 1 for 2, a stolen base and a run scored. And he'll try to move the runner.
Well, Tom's a pull hitter anyway, so you expect it to go around.
Oh, he not only moves the runner, he gets a base hit into right field, fielded by Vanchenak, and Preziosi is held at third base. That ball hit too sharply for Preziosi to try to score. So that's 2 hits for Ambrose.
I think an excellent move by Tony Mitchell at third base, holding Preziosi up. First of all, there are no outs. You don't want to take a chance. Secondly, Vangenack has a very good arm, and as you mentioned, it was sharply hit.
First and third with nobody out, and a big chance for Joe Cruz, who has been blanked. He's 0 for 2. So a chance for the Olympic Colonial team to break this one open a little bit here in the 5th inning. Ambrose running, and they won't make a play on him. They weren't going to get him anyway, so a stolen base for Ambrose, and that takes away the double play opportunity.
So if you're counting the Carpenter Cup in high school, now 64 for 64 for Ambrose.
It's almost perfect, isn't it?
Even guys like us that aren't that good in math can figure that, huh?
Infield in, they'll try to cut down Preziosi at home. 1-1 to Joe Cruz. Cruz some overbook. Great RBI chance here with the infield pulled in.
I think he's a great number 2 hitter because of the bat control that he has. You see him choking up there slightly, but has a little more pop in his bat than you see from most number 2 hitters. I think they're playing him a little too shallow as well as they're playing Preziosi. They must look at the size of these guys and say they're not that big.
Hit the left field, and that'll fall for a base hit. And they'll get 1 run out of this as Ambrose was right behind Preziosi. An RBI base hit the opposite way by Cruz. It's a 4-0 lead for Olympic Colonial. Some good hitting by Cruz. Preziosi has been a key guy in this game. Double in 1 run, now scores the 4th. And it's still a 1st and 3rd no-out situation.
And that's Cruz's 7th RBI in the Carpenter Cup, and that ties Schill for the team lead, but Schill's right here and ready to overtake him on that with this at-bat.
Schill is 0 for 1, walked and scored in the 1st inning.
And of course, in retrospect, not sending that runner with no outs turned out to be a very good move, because then he scored easily then on the base hit.
Von Schill with a chance to make it 5-0 at least. Preziosi, Ambrose, Cruz with consecutive hits in the 5th inning. So Doug Fisher laboring here after a solid 4th inning. It's the old step off and fake to third and look back to first play that has worked once in the history of baseball, Mark.
I haven't seen it. I've seen it work exactly once in all my years. Actually, it happened this year.
Inside corner for a strike, 0-1 to Von Schill.
By the way, Schill had a little bit of real batting practice today. He was 1 for 2 in Brooklyn's win over Runnymede. Got a little loose there.
Cruz running, and they'll just throw it back to the pitcher, and Cruz slides in with a stolen base. So again, the double play taken out of action here with the 2nd and 3rd no-out situation. Olympic Colonial doing everything right so far in this game. 2nd and 3rd, nobody out. Line drive, base hit, that'll score a couple of runs, gets all the way down into the corner. Schill heading to second base, and they'll have an easy double. 2-run double for Von Schill, 6-0 lead, Olympic Colonial. And they are tagging Doug Fisher 4 straight hits.
Well, they throw Schill anything near the strike zone. I had said yesterday I wouldn't throw him a strike. He's that dangerous of a hitter. And just as Cruz tied him for the RBI lead, now he went ahead 9 RBIs now in just 3 games because he pitched in the first game and didn't get to the plate. What a hitting exhibition Von Schill's putting on. Although that shouldn't surprise us, Bob. He has 107 career hits in 3 years at Audubon.
That's not bad. 1-0 to Nick Gruber. Cleanup hitter is flied out twice, so he'd like to join the hit parade. 4 straight hits here in the 5th inning for the South Jersey team. And their lead 6-0. Bounce to third base, stopped nicely by Chris Hill, the new third baseman, to Bobby Fadd for the first out of the inning.
And I'll tell you, Von Schill did a good job getting back to the bag because Hill looked at him and looked as if he was going to try to get Schill leaning a little bit too much, but Schill got back there, and Hill had the presence of mind to get the play at first.
Ian Enders, 0 for 2, did reach in an error. So a big 5th inning for Olympic Colonial. They scored 3 and have another runner in scoring position. Strike 1 to Enders, the designated hitter. Chest high, ball on the strike. So Ambrose, the table setter for Olympic Colonial, has scored twice and stolen 2 bases and has 2 base hits. A prototype second baseman. This pitch gets away from Fisher. Running on the play was Schill. He thought about coming all the way around. I don't know what happened to Fisher's pitch that time, Mark, but Schill was running all the way in the play. He'll get a stolen base. Looked like the pitch just got away from him.
Schill thought very, very long and hard about coming home because he got an outstanding jump going there, and then he and Hill at third collided a little bit. Schill saying, hey, you have to get out of my way.
2-1 to Enders. The ball gets past the catcher, and Schill will waltz home with the 7th run. Wow, everything going right for Olympic Colonial and wrong for Delaware here in the 5th inning. 7-0 lead. We'll wait for the official call on that, Mark.
That should be a pass ball.
That is correct, Mark. As usual, your scoring judgment impeccable.
Hey, why don't you tell Mike Linder that? He and I...
You're always feuding about that, aren't
you? We just can't get along on that. And on strategy. Now, Mike does a great job.
Enders walks. So this has been a difficult 5th inning for Doug Fisher.
He does a great job. I just said he and I couldn't co-manage a team together.
Chris Creer, the batter, is 1 for 2. Still only 1 out in the inning. Ball 1. Fisher had an easy 4th inning, but 4 runs in the 5th and only 1 out for Olympic Colonial, and they have busted this one open 7-0. Pop behind third, could be a tough play, and it falls for a base hit. And Creer has his 2nd hit, a little bloop to left, and it's a 1st and 2nd 1-out situation, and Blaine Neal will become the 8th hitter of the inning for Olympic Colonial.
Yeah, that was a very good play by Delaware North second baseman Jamie French. Nobody was covering third base as they all went out for that play. French saw that and started running toward third and saved really a base.
Neal has walked in his only appearance since coming into the game. Hit down the first base line. Tough hop, but handled by Bobby Fad. He'll make the unassisted put out for the 2nd out. Ian Enders moving to 3rd and Creer to 2nd on the play. And now Mike Ty with a real good opportunity to join the RBI parade. He is 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a double play grounder. So Gloucester County's Mike Ty would like to join the hit parade.
I'll tell you, he's been a major contributor with his glove today. Made about 3 or 4 above average plays.
1-0 to Mike Ty, as Olympic Colonial has batted around here in the 5th inning.
How about this junior class in South Jersey, Bob, with all the fine juniors like Mike Ty and Vaughn Schill and Dan Severino of Audubon? I had said before the season I thought the juniors were better than the seniors. I thought some of the seniors came on very strong, but I still think the juniors as a whole were better. It's a very talented class.
Ball on the strike to Mike Ty. And caught by the shortstop, playing him perfectly. That ball was nailed by Ty, the right to shortstop Bobby Sarton. But a huge 5th inning. Olympic Colonial tacks on 4. They lead at 7-0 after 5. We'll be back. Marc Narducci and Bob Shryock at Veterans Stadium. Big lead for Olympic Colonial, 7-0 as we go into the 6th inning. And some changes in the ballgame, including a new pitcher for the South Jersey team, Brian Boches of Haddon Township High School.
Brian, this is his 4th appearance in the Carpenter Cup, Bob. 5 innings, 4 hits, 3 runs, all earned, 7 walks, although he didn't have any in his last outing, and 6 strikeouts. And Brian was 11-1 this year, and a real consistent pitcher for Frank Troutz's team that tied Audubon for the Colonial Conference Championship.
Ball and a strike to Chris Hill, the new third baseman for Delaware North.
Bob, we have wholesale substitutions. At first base for Olympic Colonial is Kevin Hoffman. At second base, and Kevin, the hero of last night's game, second base is Matt Halpin of Cherry Hill West, as we see a ball there by Boches. The shortstop will be Glenn Ambrosius of Collingswood, and Dave Dawson of Eastern is in third base. Sean Carey of Bishop Eustace is in left field, as that's fouled off. Billy Mitchell has come into center field from Paul VI. And still out in right field is Blaine Neal. He'll play through the 6th inning, and then Tim Phillips of Washington Township will come in. The new catcher, who you see right there, number 8, is Kenny Thomas, the junior from Pensauken. And as we mentioned, Brian Boches is the new pitcher.
Boches with a 2-1 count on Hill. 3-1. Kind of an odd overhand delivery by Boches.
Brian, by the way, with a 1.76 ERA this year for Haddon Township. He's going to be going to Radford University in Virginia.
The left field hit pretty well. And that's the new left fielder.
Sean Carey does a great job defensively. He mainly played center field for Bishop Eustace, played some first base, but he has shown in this Carpenter Cup to be a very, very strong defensive player no matter where you put him.
So Boches gets his first batter of the ball game. Brian George batting for Vangenack. And it's a strike. So both teams making a lot of changes. Vangenack was 2 for 2. George batting for the first time out of Salesianum. Hit to the left side. This should reach the seats. And does. Strike 2 to Brian George.
George will be going to Wilmington College. Again, another school that gets a lot of the Delaware players. Hit .318 this year for the Sallies, the state champions of Delaware. Has 2 RBIs in the Carpenter Cup as he's 1 for 5.
It's a ball to Brian George. So Delaware North needs a lot of base runners. They trail 7-0 here in the 6th inning.
And we'll be seeing all the subs now coming in for Delaware North as Chris Burgess is on deck.
2-1 to George. Hard throwing Brian Boches, the third pitcher for Olympic Colonial. Schreier and Galveston both effective. This one bounced to the right side. There's going to have to be a cover here. The ball bobbled. And then thrown away by the first baseman. So the first baseman, the new first baseman, Kevin Hoffman, trouble with the grounder and then trouble with the throw. He might get...
I think that they're only going to give him 1 error on that. As you were saying to me and signaling to me, you maybe could make an argument for a double error, but either way, the runner's at second base with 1 down here.
That is the first miscue of the game for the Olympic Colonial team, allowing George to reach base. Chris Burgess, the batter for Delaware North. Good bat for the first time. Ball gets away from the catcher. Sliding into third is George. So Delaware North with a chance to score its first run here. George on third with just 1 out.
One thing, the Olympic Colonial team has given good defense today, but that was the 9th error this team has committed in the Carpenter Cup. So the Olympic Colonial's had stages where it has had some defensive lapses.
This might get the run home. It should easily get the run home. Matter of fact, good play in left field by the new left fielder, Sean Carey, waltzing home on the sacrifice fly, Brian George. So Delaware North finally on the scoreboard. They trail at 7-1 on the sac fly by Burgess.
again, I like the jump on the ball that Sean Carey got. Initially, it looked like he was handcuffed by it, but had enough speed to get back and recover.
Kenny Giles now batting for Bobby Fadd. Both teams getting all of their players in. Good play by Carey. No chance, obviously, to throw out the runner. Strike one to Giles. Bobby Fadd was 2 for 2, the starting first baseman for Delaware North.
Carey, by the way, is, I know Campbell College was one of the schools recruiting him. He's going to do well for a college program because in addition to being able to play in the outfield position and first base, he was a pitcher for 3 years for Bishop Eustace, and you know what a commodity left-handed pitchers are.
1-1 to Giles. Ball 2. So a 7-1 lead for the Olympic Colonial team. They see their shutout go by the boards here in the 6th inning. Still have a commanding advantage.
Giles hit .452 this year for Concord, and again, another one of those Delaware North players who will be going to the University of Delaware.
That's a full count to Giles. 2 outs, a run in the 6th. Pop up, and that'll go into the stands. Full count to Kenny Giles, batting for the first time. Hit the left center field, hanging up. Somebody should have it. Carey says, I do. Calls off the center fielder and makes his second put out of the inning. So that'll do it for Delaware North in the 6th. They do, however, get on the scoreboard after 5.5 innings. It is a 7-1 lead for the Olympic Colonial team. A new pitcher coming out.
Yeah, that's Chris Veal for Mount Pleasant.
So wholesale changes for both teams. We'll try to keep up with them.
Veal, by the way, 7-1 this season for Mount Pleasant, 2.30 earned run average. You see him there with that sidearm delivery. This is his second Carpenter Cup appearance. He's pitched 2 innings, allowed 1 hit and no runs.
Trying to pick up all the changes. I think we should have a new rule that they can only play 9 players so that our scorebooks don't get messed up.
Well, here's what we'll do. We'll pick them up here now. Mike Fesiolo is your new second baseman. He'll be wearing number 13. The new catcher is number 36, Carmen Marinelli. He's had a good tournament. As we mentioned, Chris Hill still remains at third base. At shortstop, coming in is Chris Burgess. Kenny Giles replaces Fadd at first base. In left field is Chris Watson, who made one of the defensive plays of this Carpenter Cup Series. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. In right field, Brian George, who came in to bat. And the new center fielder is Mike Young, and Delaware North has gotten great production from both center fielders, Sagione and Mike Young, in this Carpenter Cup tournament.
Chris Field, the new pitcher, with a 2-1 count on Sean Carey. Carey fouls it off to the left side, out of play, 2-2. Carey replacing Ryan Preziosi. What a game offensively Preziosi had. Doubles from both sides of the plate. He was really the hitting star of the game so far. This one nudged foul down the third base line, booted by the third base coach.
Frank Trouts. Frank hasn't done too much wrong this year. named the South Jersey Baseball Coach of the Year by the Coaches Association for Haddon Township. Doubled the win total, Bob. Went from 10-11 to 20-5 this year.
Big turnaround. 2-2 pitch. Slice to left field. That'll be a base hit for Carey. And the number 9 hole position has produced 3 consecutive hits for Olympic Colonial. And Bill Mitchell will bat for the first time in Tom Ambrose's spot. Ambrose did his job with 2 for 3. Bill Mitchell from Paul VI.
Still undecided on his college choice, and Bill said he might go to junior college. He was talking to schools such as Coastal Carolina. But he has outstanding speed. He was a leadoff batter for Paul VI, hit .440 this season, and is also playing on that Haddon Heights American Legion team. In this Carpenter Cup tournament, he's looking for his first hit, although he's 0 for 5, but he has had 2 walks and a run scored.
Foul down the right field line, 0-2 to Billy Mitchell. Sean Carey, the base runner at first, and nobody out in the 6th inning for the Olympic Colonial team, which has a commanding 7-1 lead. And Carey's hit was the 10th for his team. 0-2 to Mitchell. 1-2 from the new pitcher, Chris Veal from Mount Pleasant High School. Side armor. Popped up behind first base. Tough play. Good running catch by the second baseman for out number 1.
Great job by Faciolo as he stayed on that ball. Had to go a long, long way. Called it right from the beginning and made the catch.
Fazioli just in the game out of St. Elizabeth's High School. Matt Halpin will bat for the first time. Batting in Joe Cruz' spot. Cruz was 1 for 3 with a big hit in the 4-run 5th inning.
Matt's going to be attending Rutgers, he was telling me before the game. He thinks he is. He's leaning toward that and try to make that team, Rutgers New Brunswick, as a walk-on. Played shortstop for West, but as I was saying to him before the game, he looks very comfortable here at second base in this tournament as Carey steals that base.
And confusion between the second baseman and shortstop over who would cover.
Matt Halpin may have been one of the hard luck pitchers around. He was 2-5, but he was on a West team. His ERA was under 2, Bob, but that was a West team that lost 9 one-run games. Team that I think is going to be reckoned with next year with a good sophomore class this season.
1-0 count to Halpin. Ball and a strike.
Of course, Halpin playing this summer for Cherry Hill's American Legion team, which combines players from Cherry Hill East and West. They're rivals during the season and teammates in the summer.
Tantalizingly slow breaking ball for a strike, nicely from Veal. And it's a ball and 2 strikes to Halpin. Little pop-up might be in play. And nobody can get there. It goes into the dugout, so still ball and 2 strikes to Halpin.
This is not a Delaware North team with flamethrowers, but we do have to mention, Bob, that this team is without its best pitcher, Tom Trusello, who was only able to pitch 1 game in this tournament and then signed with the St. Louis Cardinals. They drafted him on the 21st round. And, of course, you cannot play in this tournament once you sign a contract. The Cardinals wanted to get him down the rookie league ball and really didn't want to wait too much longer, so they let him play the 1 game and wanted him signed and delivered. As there you see Ron Melchiori, the home plate umpire.
Ball and 2 strikes to Halpin. Two and 2. Good at bat by Halpin, really battling Chris Veal.
Yeah. Trusello, by the way, in his 3 innings pitching here in the Carpenter Cup, had 5 strikeouts, so it shows you what kind of power pitcher he is, and they really miss him.
Full count. Snap through to second. And Carey gets back easily.
The other thing is we have to mention the Olympic Colonial's down a pitcher too. Kevin Doherty has not been able to play the entire tournament, suffered whiplash in an American Legion game. He talked to him yesterday. He said he might be ready to play sometime this week, and he's an outstanding junior left-hander for the Vikings.
Called strike 3. Halpin looking at a sidearm fastball by Veal, and there have not been very many strikeouts in this game, Mark.
No, the players have been getting their hacks. And one of the reasons is, Bob, when you get a lot of strikeouts, it's normally because you have a pitcher who's overpowering. We haven't seen that. Shryock was very, very good. I wouldn't call him overpowering.
Glenn Ambrosius from Collingswood High School, not unfamiliar to us in Channel 5. Terrific all-around athlete for the Panthers. And takes a breaking ball for a strike.
Of course, he was a quarterback of that Collingswood team that Channel 5 did that Collingswood and Paulsboro football game. That drew a few people this year as the Panthers were unable to snap Paulsboro's winning streak, which is now at 29.
Another breaking ball just missing. I don't think these players like that slow breaking ball. They like they want to pull the trigger every time.
Well, that's why Veal has had some success in his high school career. Ambrosius is a guy that has not had a lot of time off from playing sports, Bob. He played baseball in August last year for Brooklawn's American Legion team that made it to the World Series. Again, snapped through by Marinelli. And
well, that's a good job by Faciola of getting back to second base to get that ball.
And Faciola did the old fake play. He acted as if the ball went into center field, started running towards center field. But Carey would have none of it, being fooled by that. But I'm saying Ambrosius went right from the American Legion to football camp. He played basketball. He had a week off between basketball and baseball, and that's about it for the last year for him.
2-1 to Ambrosius. Just missing outside 3-1. Of course, terrific bloodlines. Glenn Ambrosius, the grandson of the late Granny Ham, the great Philadelphia Phillies whiz kid on the National League champion 1950 Phillies team.
And a friend of yours, right?
Yeah, very good friend. Glenn, fine young man, too. Just missing inside. Called strike 2. Glenn thought that was ball 4. So it's a full count to Ambrosius.
Glenn's playing shortstop here, and that's where he played for Collingswood. But for Brooklawn's American Legion team, they usually have Schill at short, and Glenn Ambrosius moves over to the third, again showing his versatility.
Ball 4. Ambrosius walks in his first at bat. So first and second situation with 2 outs for Olympic Colonial here in the 6th inning as they try to add to their lead. And Ken Thomas will bat for the first time. The new catcher replacing Nick Gruber. Gruber was 0 for 3 in his time in there.
Thomas 3 for 11 in this tournament, had a really big hit in last night's win, an RBI single in last night's win over Ocean Monmouth. And he's one of those fine young juniors we're talking about too in South Jersey.
To strike 2, Thomas. 0-1 to Kenny Thomas. 7-1 lead for the South Jersey team, bidding to win its 4th Carpenter Cup out of 10 years. Strike 2.
Thomas was thrown out of the plate on a great play by Ocean Monmouth's Sansone, Dave Sansone, in left field last night. Turned out to be a really big play.
0-2 to Thomas. Ooh, tough pitch in the inside, just missing. Fans thought it was strike 3.
You know, Bob, he's going to have a very busy summer. In fact, I was talking to his father before the game. Right after this game, they are leaving for Baltimore, where he's going to the Doyle Baseball Academy for a week of baseball instruction and camps.
1-2 pitch to Thomas. And swing and a miss, strike 3. So a good job by Veal in the 6th inning as Olympic Colonial is scoreless. However, they lead at 7-1 after 6. We'll be back from Veterans Stadium after this. Olympic Colonial needs 9 more outs to win the 4th Carpenter Cup. Marc Narducci and Bob Shryock at Veterans Stadium. Delaware North still with a chance as Chris Watson leads off in the 7th inning against new pitcher Kevin Wolf out of Washington Township High School.
Wolf was 4-3 for Washington Township this season, but a deceptive 4-3. He and Jim Malco formed a very good 1-2 combination, and Kevin will be going to Trenton State College next season. Saying before the game, this is his his 4th Carpenter Cup game. He's pitching all of them. He's pitched 4 innings, 8 hits, 4 runs, all earned, 2 walks, and 1 strikeout.
2-1 to Chris Watson. Watson's from Middletown High School.
Yeah, we talked about him in the semifinals. He's undecided on his school after hitting .380 this year, but great speed, Bob.
Hit the right field. Could be a tough play. It is not held in right field by Brian George. And Watson will get the second. That was not an easy play. Number 1, the Sun. Number 1 heading into that corner. Let's see how the official score handles this one now, Mark.
I think they'll call it an error based on what they've been doing. It's a new right fielder in the game, Tim Phillips of Washington Township. That was a tough play to make, but they've been consistently tough, the official scorers, so we'll see what they call it. And it looks like they're calling it an error because they just put a second error up on the board.
Boy, yeah, tough scores. That was a tough play. Nick Luciano, the batter, the new DH. Oh, is that the Channel 5 blimp?
Some people were calling me the Channel 5 blimp. I didn't take too kindly to that.
They probably would call me that too, or worse. 0-1 to Luciano. 0-2. Good fastball by Kevin Wolf. So Tim Phillips, the new right fielder, also out of Washington Township, charged that tough error. Called strike 3 as Luciano strikes out on 3 pitches. And Mike Young bats for the first time, replacing Joe Saggione.
Bob, to talk about the consistency on this Olympic Colonial team, Wolf is the 4th pitcher to appear in all 4 games in this Carpenter Cup.
Pop foul, should be out of play, and is just behind the Phillies dugout.
They're getting a lot of contributions from many, many areas on this team. You talk about a total team effort, this has been it.
Delaware North with a base runner, 1 out here in the 7th inning. They need base runners, trailing by 7-1. Mike Young from Newark High School. Inside corner nicely by Kevin Wolf for strike 2.
We mentioned in their first game, Newark High School is the high school of Derek May, who was a number 1 pick of the Cubs, then traded to Milwaukee, and now just recently traded to Houston.
Fouled back. Still 0-2 to Mike Young. Just missing 1-2. Wolf out of that great program at John Bush at Washington Township High School. John Bush, one of the most successful scholastic baseball coaches in recent South Jersey history. Bounce to third. Tough play off the dirt. Now I'm going to see how they score this one, Mark.
I think they scored it there. E5.
I tell you, I don't think I want to be playing today. They're tough. That ball took a bad hop, Mark, now, didn't it? Or were my eyes deceiving?
No, it did. Dave Dawson was backing up a little bit on it, but it actually hit, it looked like the dirt part inside the AstroTurf and did take a bad hop. But one thing, as I said, all tournament long, they have been tough, but they have been consistent in their scoring.
This one hit up the middle. Good stop of the second baseman. They get the out. They get a run, but a tremendous play by the second baseman.
Yeah, Matt Halpin just showed outstanding range that time, getting to that ball and robbing Fasciolo of a base hit.
So Fasciolo will get the RBI on the ground out with Watson scoring, but Halpin saves greater difficulty with a tremendous force-out play at second base. That's one of the plays of the game.
Well, Halpin we talked about him being a shortstop at Cherry Hill West, and he has that kind of shortstop range, and he showed it on that play, going very, very far to his right.
Carmen Marinelli batting for the first time. So instead of first and second or third and one out, it's just a runner on first with 2 outs. That's a big play by Halpin because a hit there, and Delaware North can have something going, Mark. As it is, it's 7-2, but 2 outs. 2-0 to Marinelli. O'Connor, the starting catcher for Delaware North, was 1 for 3. Ball 3. So Kevin Wolf laboring here a bit in the 7th inning. 3 errors for both teams, all 3 for Delaware North coming in the first inning. 4-pitch walk to Marinelli. So Delaware North with maybe something a little bit going here in the 7th inning as Chris Hill bats for the second time, flied to left his first trip. Becomes a key hitter in the ballgame, a base hit here, and Delaware North right back in the ballgame.
There's no question about it, and Hill has been on fire in this tournament. Even with making that out earlier, flying to left, he's 4 for 8 with 3 RBIs. This is a critical juncture to get through the 7th inning for the Olympic Colonial pitchers as we see a strike there, Bob, because then they have Dan Severino ready to possibly go 2 innings if they need him for Audubon, and you know the story about Severino, how reliable he's been in these type of situations. Of course, he got the win in last night's game.
Bouncer to second base should be an easy play. Halpin to Hoffman, the out on Hill, and into the inning. So Delaware North comes up with a run, but only a run, and Olympic Colonial comes about in the home 7th, leading 7-2.
It'll be interesting to see if the Olympic Colonial comes with Severino to kind of close things out, or they give Ray Broom of Triton another shot. Ray's had a tough time pitching in this tournament, Bob, finding the strike zone, but he's an outstanding player. He's going to go to the University of Pennsylvania, but he's only pitched a third of an inning and has walked 6 batters in this tournament. So we'll have to see if they give Broom another shot or if they go right for Severino.
Mark, I came up here today expecting an air-conditioned press box. I thought Andy and Harry and Richie sat in air-conditioned splendor. I am roasting up here. Is this where they sit?
That's exact. Bob, they don't get air conditioning either.
Wow.
Hey, by the way, Bob, I have to congratulate you. I haven't seen you. I see you were elected to the South Jersey Football Hall of Fame.
Football coaches, of course, for my great playing career, Mark.
No, for all you've contributed there. That's a tremendous honor, and
thanks, I appreciate it.
Wanted to congratulate you on that. I know that was a really nice ceremony. I went to the Rotary Bowl All-Star game, and they do a great job, raising funds and helping out youngsters, and just they do a great job, and I think your honor was long due.
Appreciate it very much. A very nice evening. Unfortunately, I had to wear a tuxedo, Mark.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Boy, it must have been nice to be on the dais with that Lydell Mitchell.
I sat beside Lydell, and I covered him, Mark. When you were just a little guy, I was sports editor of the Old Woodbury Times in the 60s when Lydell was a great all-around athlete at Salem High, and I tell you, he is a fine young man. It was great to meet him or see him for the first time in over 25 years, and to reminisce with him about the old Tri-County Conference and his days, of course, at Penn State and in the Baltimore Colts. A fine young man, and he, of course, was the player of the year.
Bob, by the way, coming to the plate now is a guy who's been the real story of the Carpenter Cup, Joe Canuso of Triton, who has been on base all 9 times that he's batted. He's 4 for 4, he's walked 4 times, and he's been hit by a pitch.
Canuso batting for the first time today against Chris Veal and is down in the count 0-1. Check swing foul ball, so 0-2. Canuso's streak of being on 9 straight times may be in jeopardy.
Hit .463 this season for Triton, and again, he says he's probably leaning toward going to a junior college, Camden, Gloucester County, or 2 of the schools he's considering.
One and two. So the job for Veal and his defense now is to shut down Olympic Colonial, not allow any more runs. They already trail 7-2 and running out of innings. Home 7th, 7-2 lead for the South Jersey team. Pop up, and this could do the streak of Canuso's. Third baseman Chris Hill in foul territory makes the catch, so that ends Canuso's 9-for-9 streak. 9 straight times on base, but what a series he's had.
I don't think anyone in the Carpenter Cup history has ever been on base every time he's been the bat that has played more than 2 games.
Dave Dawson, the new third baseman, bats. Fouled back, 0-1 to Dawson.
We were talking about the Rotary Bowl. You recall Dawson was the quarterback for the gold team in the Rotary Bowl. They lost to the blue.
It's got to be tough duty doing both of those at the same time, Mark.
Well, it was tough playing quarterback because he didn't always have the best of blocking either, so he was running for his life a few times.
Yeah, they didn't get much offense. In that game. 0-2. Veal is sharp in this inning.
Dawson 1 for 7 here in the Carpenter Cup, a real integral part of Eastern's 2 straight Olympic Conference American Division titleists.
Bounce back to the pitcher. Thought about making the tag, but gets the soft toss over to Veal for the out. So that's an easy out on Dawson. That's 2 down.
And this will be Tim Phillips now coming to the plate. As you look at Tim joined the team after Kevin Doherty was declared out for the tournament. So Tim's been with the Carpenter Cup team the last 3 games. He's played right field, left field.
And takes strike 1 from Veal. 2 outs. Nobody on. Olympic Colonial here in the 7th inning. Getting a bit overcast at Veterans Stadium. Some dark clouds above us. Ball on a strike. One of the great scholastic baseball tournaments anywhere coming to a close again this year. A very well-run tournament. Channel 5 very happy to be part of it, as we've been for many of the years. First game I've done in quite a few years, Mark. Very nice to be working this game with you.
Yeah, Bob, I was saying to Mike Linder last night, you and I haven't worked together since we did a Paulsboro game in October.
Your knowledge amazes me, Mark, what you know about scholastic athletes all over the Delaware Valley. It's something to behold. I give you a great deal of credit for your knowledge.
Well, as I told Mike, it beats having a real job doing this stuff.
But it is quite a talent to be able to keep in your head all the information that you do. 2-2 count to...
I think a real tribute is to the South Jersey athletes. How many good athletes in all the sports that area fields.
Line drive base hit to left field by Phillips. Well, he thought about going for 2, but Watson retrieving the ball. So an opposite field single by Tim Phillips, the 3rd right fielder deployed today by the Olympic Colonial team, and he is a 2-out base runner. And Kevin Hoffman will have his first at bat since replacing Mike Ty at first.
How about last night with the bases loaded, a 3-2 count, and Kevin Hoffman with his team down by 1 hitting a 2-run single to win the game.
Biggest hit of the tournament so far. This one hit well into center field, but backing up on the play and making the catch easy is the new center fielder in the game,
yeah,
Mike Young.
Mike Young did a good job getting there.
Okay, so that'll do it for 7 innings from Veterans Stadium. It's still a big lead for the Olympic Colonial team. The score is 7-2. One bouncer starting the 8th inning, and 1 out as the Delaware North hitter Brian George bounced to the second baseman Matt Halpin, over to Kevin Hoffman for the easy out. That's one down. Marc Narducci and Bob Shryock bringing you the action of the 95 Carpenter Cup Final from Veterans Stadium. And it's been all Olympic Colonial so far. They lead it 7-2. Burgess, the batter for Delaware North, hit a sacrifice fly to account for one of the runs.
And Wolf's still in the game for the Olympic Colonial. If they can get 2 innings out of him, that'll be a real bonus.
Easy play for Halpin. So the 4-3 combination gets the first 2 hitters for Delaware North here in the 8th inning. And now Olympic Colonial needs only 4 outs to win the 4th Carpenter Cup for the South Jersey team. Quite an accomplishment considering all the great teams, all the great athletes that have played in this event. Kenny Giles. 2 pitches, 2 outs for Kevin Wolf here in the 8th inning. And strike 1. So Wolf throwing strikes.
That's a real key. He's really been getting ahead of the batters. He's been very impressive here in his relief. This is, out of the 4 games, been his best showing.
Ball and a strike to Kenny Giles. Flied to left his first time from Concord High School. Bounce to second. Another opportunity for Halpin, but a tougher one, and couldn't quite get enough on the throw. Now, they're not going to charge an error here, are they?
No, they are not.
Okay, I just want to make sure of that. Infield base hit for Giles. And Chris Watson will bat. Reached in an error and scored the second run for Delaware North.
Watson made a catch, we were talking about it earlier, against the Philadelphia Catholic League in left field, that it looked like he had no chance to get the ball, and his closing speed just reached out and got it. I thought it was the best defensive play I've seen in this tournament. In a couple of years, by the way.
2 outs. Giles a base runner at first, Chris Watson the batter. And his team trailing by 5 with 2 outs here in the 8th. Bouncer, could be a play, or it's foul ball. So it's 0-1 to Watson.
Delaware's had some great players over the years in this tournament. I remember the speedy center fielder Dwight Manass, who I believe he was drafted by the Dodgers and signed with them. And of course, Delaware started out in the Carpenter Cup when it started in '86 as just one team, and that was the championship team in '86, that Delaware team. Last few years, they've split the Delaware North and South. Great idea because it gives more people the opportunity to compete.
Roped into center field by Watson for a base hit. Mitchell fielding the ball as Giles stops at first, and Watson has a solid base hit, and a little bit of stirring here by Delaware North in the 8th inning with 2 outs. And Nick Luciano, the designated hitter, bats. So it's not quite over.
I'm a little shocked. I thought we might have seen a game that was like a 16-14 type game with all the offense both of these teams had, and the pitching had been up and down for both squads.
It's a strike to Luciano. Luciano struck out his only trip. Wolf got the first 2 batters on bouncers to second base, but the last 2 hitters, Giles and Watson, have singled. Hit up the middle, and that'll be through for a base hit. Rounding third, Giles Hill will score easily. RBI hit by Luciano, and here with 2 outs in the 8th, 3 consecutive hits, make it a 7-3 ball game, and Delaware North within 1 batter of getting the tying run to the plate.
And I guess the question is, you wonder is, will the Olympic Colonial make a pitching change or keep Kevin Wolf out there?
So it's a 7-3 ball game as Delaware North has scored single runs in each of the last 3 innings. And that brings Mike Young to the plate. Reached on an error his first time. Pop-up might be playable. Not quite. Hits the first step of the dugout steps, and a good try by the catcher, Ken Thomas, but nothing doing. A couple more feet in fair territory, and he might have caught that ball.
Kenny Thomas made the slide that time and really made an all-out effort to get to that ball.
So Mike Young becomes a very key hitter in this ball game. If he can keep this alive, we're going to have a very interesting finish. And that one got away from Kevin Wolf. Ball on a strike to Mike Young.
Thomas making a nice adjustment on that ball to be able to get out to it. Now it's interesting, Dan Severino has finished warming up. He's walking from the bullpen to the dugout of the Olympic Colonial. Again, obviously the plan is to keep him out until the 9th inning. We'll see if they have to bring him in a third of an inning earlier.
One and one to Young. Strike two, good fastball, and Mike Young does not agree with the call, shaking his head. 1-2 to Young. Key batter right here. Delaware with a chance to get right back in it. Line drive, base hit. Watson rounding third. He'll score easily. Heading to third is Luciano. And heading to second with nobody covering. Good heads-up base running by Young. Guess what? We have a 7-4 ball game. Runners at second and third. All this happening, Marc Narducci with 2 outs.
Well, Bob, it's a tough decision. I think they have to bring Severino in right now. He's warmed up and everything, and Kevin Wolf looked so good with those first 2 batters, and then the next batters have gotten 4 straight singles against him, so I would think that they'll bring in the Audubon left-hander right now as Joe Hartman goes to the mound.
This inning started very tamely with a couple of easy bouncers. Severino is coming in, but since the 2 ground outs, Giles, Watson, Luciano, and now Mike Young with consecutive singles, 2 runs in, 2 runners in scoring position, and it's 7-4 as Joe Hoffman accompanies Kevin Wolf off the mound. And Kevin is going to be greeted by his teammates. Did a nice job in the tournament. But Delaware North, Mark, making it very interesting.
Just like Ocean Monmouth, a team that just will not quit and go away, and that's why they're in this championship game. That gentleman, Dan Severino, this is his 3rd appearance as a pitcher. He played in left field in the first Carpenter Cup game. 4 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 run, which was earned, 3 walks, and 7 strikeouts. And Bob, this is a guy who's 21-1 in his career, and he'll be back for his senior season at Audubon. He's been a winning pitcher in 2 straight state championship games. This year he was 11-1, 0.70 ERA, and he's pitched a few innings though this week. He went 7 Monday for Brooklawn in an American Legion game. He's already pitched 4 here, and it's not so much the number of innings, but this is the 4th time now that he's had to warm up this week, and he told me he's just going to gut it out this week. He might not be at his best, but Severino at 80 or 90% is still better than most people.
Joe Hartman not taking any chances, getting his closer in with 2 outs in the 8th inning, and Mike Facciola the batter. So
I think you have to with the tying run at the plate right now.
So Delaware North has really staged a good come-from-behind effort here. Running the 6th, and running the 7th, 2 here in the 8th. Trailed 7-0 at one point. And now it's 7-4. Swing and miss. Severino's fastball blowing past Facciola.
Keep in mind he has a rising fastball too. A lot of players have trouble staying away from those pitches out of the strike zone against them.
And again, no contact. Severino ahead in the count 0-2. Another heater here, Mark?
Oh, absolutely. And it's interesting. Neither of those pitches were rising fastballs. They were both outside of the strike zone.
Facciola does well just to get his bat on the ball. You can tell he's appears to be a bit overmatched. Severino, he looks tough, doesn't he?
Oh, he's a great competitor. Recently selected to the All-State team, too, as a junior.
0-2 to Facciola. And strike 3. So Severino comes in, does the job, shuts down Delaware North after they pick up a couple of runs. Not over yet, however, 7-4 now. Olympic Colonial, middle of the 8th inning. That's what your closer is supposed to do, and he did it. Getting congratulations all around from his teammates.
Well, as I said in the semifinal game, he really showed his mettle by, in the state tournament, the state final this year against Pequannock, in the 7th inning, they loaded the bases, and then he struck out 3 straight batters. I mean, just such a fiery competitor, and he and Vaughn Schill have had an outstanding run. Both of those two have been 3-year starters, and they're back again next year. In fact, most Colonial coaches say they're back again. They're guys that seem like they've been around forever. They've won a lot of games. They've won 3 straight South Jersey championships, 2 straight state titles.
They got taking our picture, Mark?
I don't know. You think that camera will crack if he points it at us?
It's been a very entertaining game. We've had some timely hitting, some good pitching, and some real good defensive plays on both teams. So Delaware making a nice comeback. Trailed 7-0, now 7-4, but they're down to their last 3 outs. And Olympic Colonial with a chance here in the 8th to perhaps tack on some insurance.
I think maybe the Olympic Colonial, and this happened the other night too, get a little complacent every once in a while and don't always play with that fire. And last night they were able to again turn it on and come back from that 9-6 deficit in the bottom of the ninth, a 9-7 deficit in the bottom of the 9th inning.
Sean Carey, the batter, on a base hit, facing Chris Veal, who throws strike 1. Number 9-hole position has been very productive today for Olympic Colonial. Ryan Preziosi had a couple of doubles, and Sean Carey had a base hit, and now he has 2 base hits. How about that? 4 for 4 from the number 9-hole position.
How about Sean Carey now? 4 for 8 in this Carpenter Cup tournament.
12th hit for the Olympic Colonial team. And Bill Mitchell bats. Mitchell 0 for 1 since replacing Tom Ambrose. See if they try to advance a runner to get the insurance. Up to right field. And the right fielder can't handle it. And there's going to be 2 runners on. He's going to go to third base. Relay throw, and they nail him. So some questionable base running by Sean Carey as the right fielder, Brian George, dropped the ball, retrieved it, and the relay nails Carey at third base.
Well, George making a nice recovery on that, as they did call that an error. Interesting, Mitchell still stayed at first base on that, but Carey really had no chance. When he rounded second, I don't know if he just thought he could make it automatically, but that wasn't even close.
Strike 1 to Matt Halpin, who struck out his first time up.
You know, Mitchell has good speed. He was a leadoff batter for Paula 6. We'll see if he tries to steal a base here with 1 out.
Missing outside, ball on a strike to Halpin. So George makes an error and gets an assist on the same play. Don't see that too often. One on, 1 out for Olympic Colonial, 8th inning. They lead it by 3. Bounce to third, tough play, diving effort. And that'll be a base hit for Halpin, advancing Mitchell to second base. Good diving effort at third by Chris Hill, couldn't come up with it. And that's the 13th hit for the Olympic Colonial team.
Mitchell thought, as we see Halpin there with Tony Sindoni, Mitchell thought a little bit about going to third, but I guess from seeing the play before, he got cautious, and I think rightly so. Watson with a pretty good arm in left field.
Glenn Ambrosius bats for the second time. He walked his first time at bat. Scoring opportunity in the 8th inning for Olympic Colonial. Slow breaking ball for a strike to Glenn. Hit sharply for a base hit to left field. Mitchell rounding third. He'll try to score. And he does. RBI single by Glenn Ambrosius. He hit it hard. And it's an 8-4 lead for the Olympic Colonial team.
Big bit of insurance, but I happen to think if the relay throw was a little bit more online, we would have had a much closer play at the plate.
Strong arm by Watson, and I agree with you, Mark. Could have been close. So 3 hits in the inning for the Olympic Colonial team. RBI single by Glenn Ambrosius makes it 8-4. And Ken Thomas bats. He's 0 for 1. Strike. 0-1 to Thomas. Olympic Colonial with 2 in the first, 1 in the second, 4 in the fifth, and a run here in the eighth to lead at 8-4. Chris Veal in his 3rd inning of work for Delaware North. Thomas can't pick up the breaking ball, 0-2. Two on, 2 outs, a run in. Excuse me, 1 out. Sliced foul. Thomas fooled on the play and does a nice job of fighting off the pitch. Still 1-2 to Thomas.
Tough when you're right-handed batter and you're seeing that sidearm delivery.
One-two pitch again coming up to Thomas. Chest missing inside, 2-2. Thomas batting in a cleanup position after replacing Nick Gruber. This position is 0 for 4 today. And the number 9 position is 4 for 4.
Keep in mind now, those 2 guys that hit number 9 today for their high school teams, Ryan Preziosi and Sean Carey, were number 3 hitters in the order. Or Carey did some leadoff also.
Pretty strong batting order when you get guys like that hitting 9th. Bouncer to short, could be 2. They get the force. Relay throw is late. Nice play at first base by Ken Giles. So they get the force with a 6-4 play. And that's 2 down.
Fasciolo did a good job because it almost looked like he didn't touch the bag on that as he made the pivot to first. Just was able to get a piece of it.
Burgess to Accioli for the force out. That's 2 down. So Canuso, the batter. Triton High School. First and third, 2 out. Pitch out. And Thomas decides to try to get back to first base, but he is tagged out for the 3rd out of the inning. But
Bob, run scored, yes.
The run scored, so some good heads-up base running by, who is that, Ambrosius?
Carey, right?
Carey. For the run, but Olympic Colonial does get the run, so it's 9-4 after 8 innings. Just 3 more outs for the Delaware North team in the finals of the '95 Carpenter Cup. We'll be back right after this. Dan Severino, the ace pitcher from Audubon High School, just needs 3 outs to nail down the '95 Carpenter Cup for the Olympic Colonial team. Marc Narducci and Bob Shryock bringing the action. It's been a good game and an outstanding tournament. And Mark, we wanted to correct the score of that final run and some good heads-up base running to end the 8th inning.
Yeah, it was actually Halpin. This carry was thrown out by the right fielder, by George in the play, a couple plays before that. So Matt Halpin doing a nice job there and getting home. He's really played a fine tournament for this Olympic Colonial team.
Carmen Marinelli leading off and takes ball 1 from Dan Severino. Severino came in to put out the fire in the 8th inning in a save situation. Ball 2. And Marinelli will probably make Severino throw a strike here. 9-4 lead for Olympic Colonial, and with a guy like Severino in the mound, you'd think the South Jersey team was in pretty good shape, but 3-0 to Marinelli. And he will look at least 1.
Yeah, that's how the Olympic Colonial got back into the game last night against Ocean Monmouth with 5 walks against John Rose. Rose had been so impressive in the pitching 3 innings of shutout ball in the victory over the Tri-Cape team. Ocean Monmouth had to get through 3 South Jersey teams, and that is a difficult task.
Full count to Marinelli as Severino battles back from 3-0.
Of course, they got by Burlco and Tri-Cape, but unable to get by the Olympic Colonial.
And ball 4. So Marinelli does his job. He draws a leadoff walk from Severino to start the 9th inning. Chris Hill will bat. Chris 0 for 2 since coming in at third base. Ball 1. So Severino fighting his control a bit here to start the 9th inning. Fouled back, ball on a strike. Fan comes up with the ball. You got to throw that one back though. That's
actually Dave Phillips, the father of DM Phillips and also Tim Phillips.
Mark, you know everybody in the stands. Tell us who the guy is up on the, row 7 up there with the blue shirt on.
Well, the guy in the sunglasses there is Don Schill. Mr. and Mrs. Schill.
Bounce towards second. Good play by the second baseman. A better play by the shortstop. They're getting out. How about that combination? Halpin to Ambrosius. Ambrosius with a great play. They're just happy to get an out of that.
I'll tell you what, I have really been impressed by Halpin's range today. And we said he showed that as a shortstop for Cherry Hill West. I mean, he has had no trouble, no difficulty playing second base in this tournament. And between Halpin and Joe Cruz, there's been some solid defense for that second base position for this Olympic Colonial team.
Brian George, the batter. Brian 0 for 2, has scored a run. 1 on, 1 out. This one hit into the gap. That'll be trouble. That might go all the way back to the wall and score a run. Hill rounding third. He will score easily. Heading to third. And sliding in. Whoa! I don't know. Wow, that was close. Almost overslid the bag. That would have been a tough second out. But an RBI triple by Brian George. It's 9-5, and this Delaware North team won't quit.
You're right. On the initial play, he was safe, but he barely kept his hand on that bag with a tag by Dave Dawson.
That ball was roped to the wall by Brian George. That's the first triple of the ball game. And Chris Burgess, the batter, he is 0 for 1 with a sacrifice fly. This one hit up the middle for a base hit as George checks in the RBI single by Burgess, and Dan Severino has been touched for 2 runs here in the 9th inning. A little surprise to you, Mark?
Well, these are great hitters. This is a Delaware North team, Bob, that averaged 13 1/3 runs in its first 3 games and did it against some pretty good pitchers. So, no, it's not surprising. This is a very good offensive team.
Severino shaking his head a little frustrated. Kenny Giles, the batter, singled and scored in the 8th inning. So Once again, Delaware within one batter of getting the tying run to the plate. Late swing on a good Severino fastball. 2 runs in here in the ninth, 9-6 ball game, and you can hear the Delaware partisans picking up the cheering below us. 0-1 to Giles. Ball on a strike. Walk to Marinelli started this. A couple of solid base hits by Brian George, a triple, and Chris Burgess a single. 2-1.
How big was that defensive play now by both Halpin and Ambrosius around the bag at second?
Very big. So if they had made it, there wouldn't be anybody out. But the left field should be an easy play, and is for Sean Terry. That's 2 outs, so now the Olympic Colonial team just 1 out away from giving the team its 4th Carpenter Cup championship.
I love the way Carey closes on the ball. That time he didn't get the ball out off the bat initially. It looked like he went toward the wrong way, but he adjusted himself and has fine closing speed.
Chris Watson has been on twice, has scored twice. Last hope for Delaware North. It's a strike. And now the Olympic Colonial fans sensing victory. 2 outs, 1 on, 2 runs in, 9-6 lead for Olympic Colonial. Late swing, strike 2. Severino would love to finish this off with a strikeout. Pitch. Bounce to third base. Should be the ball game. Low throw, and it's past the first baseman. Oh my. Rounding third base, they're going to get another run out of this. Burgess will come in to score. Watson going to third base, and he'll get in there. It's a 9-7 ball game. Should have been the ball game. But the third baseman, Dave Dawson, after cleanly fielding the play, made an errant throw past Kevin Hoffman. And now Delaware North does get the tying run to the plate.
Unbelievable. Just unbelievable. And I'll tell you, I give Delaware North all the credit in the world, because it certainly didn't look very good for them, and they've just continued to battle. Whether they win this game or not, they're certainly displaying the mark of a champion.
So Watson winds up at third base. It's 9-7, and Nick Luciano is the batter. He is 1 for 2 since coming in. Check swing. Did he hold up? Yes, ball 1. A 3-run ninth inning. There's the story. 9 errors in the ball game. A lot of errors, but there have been some great defensive plays. Swing and a miss, strike 1. 1-1 to Nick Luciano. The tying run at the plate. Second time Delaware North has been able to do that after trailing 7-0. Strike swing, 2-1. Interesting finish. So Severino has had some problems here in the ninth. Some of his doing and some not his doing. 3-1 to Luciano.
I think obviously here you've got to give him the take sign. Severino has been wild this inning. You want to bring the lead run at the plate.
Pop up, but it's going to be fouling out of play. Full count, and I'm surprised as you are, Mark, that he wasn't taken.
See, Mike and I talked about this last night. This is an all-star game. You want to give these guys a lot of cracks. They hit the ball as much as possible, but when you get to the 8th to 9th inning, you want to win the game. And then the strategy, I think, comes into play.
Full count to Luciano. Severino. Strike 3 inside corner. Ball game over. Olympic Colonial wins the 1995 Carpenter Cup final score 9-7 as they celebrate. Severino with a great pitch in the inside corner. Luciano thought he might have drawn a walk, but hauled out for strike 3. And a big ninth inning blitz by Delaware North. 3 runs makes it interesting, makes it close. But the final score 9-7. We'll come back and wrap this one up right after this. And they're celebrating in the Olympic Colonial Conference dugout, celebrating the 4th championship by this team in the 10-year history of the Carpenter Cup. No team, Mark, had ever won this more than twice other than Olympic National, and now no team has come close to winning it 4 times as they have. So again, they put it all together, timely hitting, timely pitching, and some great defense, and they fought off a Delaware North team, Mark, that just wouldn't give up.
Absolutely, Bob. They showed a lot of heart, had the tying run at the plate, and really did a fantastic job. I thought Delaware North showed why they were a finalist in this and really played well throughout the whole tournament.
The team celebrating. There is the championship trophy and a very happy band of players. And I tell you what, they dodged a lot of bullets to get into the final, and they dodged a tough effort by Delaware North to win the championship today. And there's a great look at the cup. It was 7-0. Mark, after 5 innings, it looked like the Olympic Colonial team was going to coast to victory. They were getting great pitching. They were getting hits at the right time. But Delaware North scored runs in the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th innings. And as you said, they brought the tying run to the plate twice. So they really made it interesting. Just a real good ball game to cap a great tournament.
Bob, I thought the balance by this team was really what did it for the Olympic Colonial. I mean, Shryock was so consistent with the 11 strikeouts, with the 2 wins in this tournament. Vaughn Schill with the 9 RBIs. Preziosi with a game-winning hit in Game 1 with the 2 doubles from each side of the plate. I mean, there were just a lot of heroes. Canuso getting on base 9 straight times. Severino with the win and the save. Kevin Hoffman, the game-winning hit in the semifinal game. You can go on and on. This was a total team effort.
10 years and 4 championships for this team, Mark. What does this say about South Jersey baseball relative to baseball throughout the Delaware Valley?
Well, I think South Jersey and actually New Jersey baseball, you see what Ocean Monmouth has done in this tournament too, is just outstanding now. The teams have been competitive. As you said, only one other team had won this tournament twice, and that was the Philadelphia Catholic League, and now the Olympic Colonial has done it 4 times. So that's just quite a feat for this team. Says a lot about the South Jersey competition and in the state, because remember, 2 New Jersey teams were in the Final 4.
And a lot of great players today. We saw Mark are juniors. We're going to see them again next year. So South Jersey baseball still alive and well, and coming up in '96.
There's no question about it. I think the Olympic Colonial and I think the Tri-Cape again going to have excellent teams in this Carpenter Cup next year.
Mark, enjoyed working with you very much.
Bob, it's always a pleasure.
It was a great final. Again, the final score from Veterans Stadium. The Olympic Colonial Conference Team 9 and Delaware North 7. Olympic Conference and Colonial Conference combined to win the 1995 Carpenter Cup. For Marc Narducci, this is Bob Shryock from Veterans Stadium. Thanks for watching on Channel 5.